Let's try that again. Sorry. Try this again. Hi guys, welcome to Raven's Real Talk. Hello, if it's your first time, welcome. For everyone who's been here before, hello. Y'all didn't see that technical slip, okay? For those of you who are new here, this is Raven's Real Talk. Raven's Real Talk is a talk show that I created on my channel for us to have discussions about things that are important to me, that I think need more exposure and to be discussed for us to explore and hopefully grow into better people and better our lives through the discussion and through self-reflection and introspection. So as you all can see, today the topic is breakups. And I don't know about you guys, but I truly do believe that after every breakup, you do take something away from it and you do become a better version of yourself if you choose to treat the experience as such. So that's why I felt that this topic was so important to speak about. And I am so fortunate and so grateful and so lucky that three amazing scrumptious friends of mine have agreed to also talk about this very, very important topic with me. So I'm very excited to introduce them to you. Before I do, though, let me say hello to all of you. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you both for being here. Hi, Lars. Hi, Infinite Nothing. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Hi, Slay. Thank you for being here. Excuse me. Hi, Mike. Hi, Cantrip. Oh, thank you for being here, guys. Excuse me. Hi, Ash. It has been a minute. It definitely has. And I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. I would also like to start with what I'm grateful for. Y'all know the drill. Every time I stream, I am trying to take some time out of my days to mention what I'm grateful for. It's a good practice because I don't know about you guys, but I tend to focus a lot on things that I don't have and things that I want, and I don't spend enough time being grateful for the stuff that I do have. So I'm going to say that I'm grateful for the lunch that I had today. I am so grateful for it, guys. As I was making it, so for those of you who don't know, I had some avocado toast, okay? I don't like avocado, but I'm growing to like it. It actually tastes so scrumptious if you make it right. And I guess whoever was making it before wasn't making it right in the restaurants when they were just serving it to me bland on the side as fries. Like, no. So I'm grateful, jokes aside though, like I am very grateful for the fact that I was able to get some avocado. I know avocado is expensive in a lot of places. This is by no means a flex that I'm able to afford it, but I have to acknowledge that it is a privilege to be able to have access to avocado, to be able to spend to get avocado, and then have all the other stuff, the little other stuff that I wanted, like jalapenos and whole wheat toast and whole grain toast, and I wanted like lime, and I wanted all of these things to try to make my avocado taste like the restaurants, and I was able to have that. And then when I saw my meal after I had like taken the hard work to put it all together, I was like, oh my god, this looks so beautiful. And I am so fortunate to be able to make this meal and sit down in a peaceful home in a space that, although it's cluttered and crazy and chaotic, it is mine. This is my space. I have some place to call my own, and I can sit and enjoy a meal. And I had apple on the side with some almond butter. Okay, sorry, my phone is going off. And it was just very, very, just a beautiful start to my day. So that is me being grateful for that. All right, without further ado, like Prince Abubu, I would like to introduce my scrumptious friends that are going to be talking about breakups with me. I know I sound way too excited. The mood gonna go down real fast as soon as I start talking about my heartache, okay? But the first person I'd like to introduce is someone that I had the fortunate I don't know, English is hard. That I had the pleasure, I'll just say that, the pleasure of having as a duet partner. I don't know if you guys remember, but we did a whole thing where like he was like cheating on me, but he wasn't really. I was just being difficult with him and like speculating, and then we had like this beautiful closure in Wrecking Ball. Like it was a whole thing, and we have reconciled. We are good to go. But you know, our little breakup, we do want to talk about it. So please help me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you for the host. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So please help me welcome my scrumptious duet partner and friend, Mr. Music. Wait. I have to unmute you. Boom.
Okay. Hello there.
Hi, Mr. Music.
Hello. And hello, chat. My name is Mr. Music. I usually stream. I am a little bit on hiatus right now. I'm working on new things, but if I was going to say something that I was grateful for, I'm grateful to have such amazing friends, like especially with the four of us here, like being able to talk about like really crazy topics that usually doesn't come up in day-to-day like life, and being able to share experiences and just kind of come closer for it. So, and I'm grateful for that, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Oh, Lemon hyping you up. That was a long mister.
That's a lot of H's.
That's a lot of hashes.
Hey guys.
Love it. The next person I would like to introduce to the scene is someone that I actually had the pleasure of meeting in real life. Okay, I didn't get to spend too much time with her, unfortunately, but I have been alongside her scrumptious, beautiful voice and her very supportive and beautiful like personality on many Dare to Duets. I think we've even captained together. Please help me welcome Tanepi. Please help me welcome Tanepi, which is going on now.
Hello. Hi, well, oh gosh, I didn't prepare anything I was grateful for, so now I'm just gonna sound like so
that's
selfish
totally
compared to
okay.
the rest of you. I guess I think of something on the spot, but oh man, I don't know. Wait, I'm Tanepi. I am a singer and I was one of the like Twitch sings people like all of us here. And kind of variety streamer, occasionally variety in schedule and content. Right now, mostly working on YouTube stuff for my own self-enjoyment. And yeah, oh yeah, and I like bread. That's kind of my thing.
She is not afraid of some carbs, baby. I love that. She has a very cute emote. If you haven't checked it out, please definitely check out Tanepi's emotes, and please check out Mr. Music and Tanepi. And of course, last but not least, please help me welcome my scrumptious friend that whose voice like literally crippled my soul when I heard him sing Gravity. That was the first time that I met this person. Guys, look, let me tell you the story. Okay, let me tell you the story. So I was just, y'all know I love Gravity, right? Before it got taken down from Twitch Sing. So I was browsing through the duets and I was like, oh, this person looks cool. Let's sing with them. And at that time, I'm pretty sure I didn't know about like lag and people's webcam affecting like syncing issues. So I rarely looked at people's performances before I sang with them. So I literally clicked on Lars randomly. And then so I think I got part 1, or did he get part? I can't remember. I think he got part 1. But as soon as he started singing, like my heart melted. Okay. And I did a second song with him right after that. And I had the pleasure of meeting him in real life. He didn't show up to his own party, but that's okay. We're not going to talk about that. But we also did get to share a wonderful walk to the captain's dinner at TwitchCon as well. So please help me welcome the scrumptious Lars.
Oh man, I actually, what's up, guys? My name is Bruno Lars on Twitch. My artist name is now Larsy. I'm a singer songwriter from originally the Bay Area, California, now living in Southern California. And in my defense of not being able to make it to that party, I was driving I was driving from NorCal to SoCal that night,
Oh,
and
y'all heard it here first. That's why he didn't
yeah,
show up.
yeah. I definitely did want to say something that I was thankful for, um, and it's the ability to, or not the ability, the opportunity to be able to share my experiences through this topic with you guys, because Lord knows I have talked my friend's ear off because there was a point of time in my life where it was just a reoccurring thing, just cyclical, going over and over again. It was, but I'm gonna save that for the topic. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm ready to really get into this.
I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. Thank you all three for being here. I know life is really busy, really crazy, and I really appreciate you taking such a huge chunk out of your day to come spend time with me, spend time with everyone here, and talk about this very important topic. So thank you. Hi, Anna
Thanks for
Durian.
having us.
I see you. Thank you. Thank you, Tanepi. Also, is that a purple and black chair?
It is.
Oh
Yes.
my God, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It's kind of breaking,
Oh,
but
you,
it
you
looks
can't
cute
tell. It's
anyway.
okay. Yeah, it looks cute.
Yeah, the seat's ripped and the little like foot stand that comes out like totally just broke. So
Girl,
I'm
what'd you
actually in
do on the
market for
foot
a new
stand?
chair, but sitting on it.
Oh my God. Oh,
But-
Lord. Well, it's the bread, you know what I'm saying? It's the bread. You need to hook me up. I'm trying to grow my junk in the trunk. But it's going
You
at
can
all
have
the
all of
wrong
mine. I've
places.
got-
Oh, yeah? God.
Take it.
Oh my God, you guys are funny. All right, now that we've talked about butts and junk and all of that, I do want to share a disclaimer before we dive in that I know that talking about this topic might be difficult for some of us, and some of you in chat, you might get some memories of times when you were going through a similar situation. So I just want to know you to know that we are conscious of that and we understand that, and this is a safe space for you to share your experiences as well and kind of like heal alongside us. You're not alone, although it might feel like you are alone. Like, you will hear that we all have our own experiences with this topic, and we're just sharing our own experiences and our point of view. We're by no means experts on recovery and healing. We're not therapists. We're not like psychologists. But we're just sharing our lessons learned, tips for healing, and all of that. So, we're all here because we've experienced breakups at some point in our life. So,
Oh yeah.
did any of you guys
definitely.
see it coming? Did you guys do you think that there's signs that lead up to breakups, or what do you think? Lars, you want to start us off?
Yeah, definitely. There's signs, but it's usually only seen by the person that does the breaking up.
Mm.
Yeah, because what I find is that if you're not communicating and comprehending at the same time, if you both of you aren't on the same level as far as comprehension and communication, one person is going to feel a little less happy than the other.
Mm.
um, and so with that, they'll see all the signs and really they decide for themselves without even talking about it, um, the the things that they don't like, the things that they wish would be better, wish would be different. So for them, they see all the signs, they see all the red flags, and it is very possible for the other person to be completely oblivious to it, um,
Yeah.
all the way leading up to it. Yeah. So I think there are signs. It's just depending on which side of that you fall into, you may not see it.
You mentioned communication. So do you feel like relationships that have better communication, it's more likely that both sides will see the signs, as opposed to relationships that don't have a good communication? Usually it's one side that will see the signs.
I believe so. I think if you're communicating and understanding at the same level, the breakup tends to be more mutual than one-sided.
Because you're working through it and you're both seeing like,
Yeah,
oh man, these are the issues and we haven't been able to fix it. We
yeah.
need to take space or whatever. Okay. Okay. What about you,
Yeah.
Mr. Music?
Well, no, there's definitely signs. I think there it's to be on Lars's point. I feel like there are definitely the person that's doing the breakup will see all of the red flags. The other person not necessarily might they might not see the same signs, but I would wager like at least they would try to ignore certain things.
Mm.
Because the person that is seeing the signs, the person that wants to, potentially break up with the other person, that they will act differently.
Mm.
There's certain situations where they might not be as warm to certain things. There's certain facts or certain quirks that they end up forgetting or snapping at or something like that. And as the person who's kind of sort of oblivious to it, you could catch on to it. If you've spent enough time
Yeah.
with the other person, you can catch on to it, right? And that's the fear. Like, do you say something and then prompt the breakup, or do you just let it by and ignore it and hope to kind of drag it out for as long as possible?
Mm.
And it's usually the latter because breakup isn't something that they would want to do.
Or you
And
make
I think
excuses, maybe like maybe they're just having an off day
exactly
or like a bad day. Maybe it's I'm just making
exactly
things up.
exactly. So I think there's signs both ways, but then it's different signs. It's
Mm.
so it's like you see the red flags on one side, and the other side is kind of like, yeah, they don't feel right, but
They're off. Something off about
yeah.
them. I love that you use the word warm because that's what I was gonna say for signs. That I think for me, like if you're in a situation, I think the signs that you would start to notice is they're not as warm to you, because I think that's what I had like been picking up, or I guess maybe that was something that had led to the breakup. That so we're not right, like something's off about us, and I think we need to talk about whatever is happening. Warm is a really good way of describing it. What about you, Tanepi?
Yeah, I mean, I'm typically have been the initiator, so to me there's signs everywhere, and then like you start noticing stuff, and once you open up to noticing stuff, it just keeps rolling in, and you're like, oh, so at least I guess mine was mostly like internal, or I'd like address something. It's like, oh, they reacted badly to this, and you just start noticing more and more. And then I know like exes that I've reconnected with have been like, oh yeah, I really should have I should have noticed all of these things were wrong, but I didn't want to believe it. So I know like I definitely, as I was going through that, like, oh, is this kind of running its course? I definitely distanced myself, and they like didn't want to acknowledge it at the time, and just kind of like, oh, I'll just like cling harder and like make this work, and then that doesn't just
pushes you farther away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'd say there's definitely signs on both sides, and it's obviously depends person to person, but and then I've been at like it wasn't actually a relationship, just kind of like a fling that I wanted to be a relationship, and like even sort of started off like super obsessive, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, like I was being texted in like group chats, and then like he'd hang out with other people, and we were all in like friends and stuff, and I was like, oh, he's probably like I did the same thing, like excuse the most ridiculous stuff to be like, oh, I'm sure he's still into me. Like it's really easy to just to see and not actually soak it in, because you'd rather just like keep hoping.
Yeah. And on one hand, maybe you also want to be like, you're thinking you're being rational about it, because you're like, am I being too clingy by like, or am I expecting too much by asking for like, why aren't they as warm to me? Why aren't they texting me as much? Why aren't they da da da? So like you try to like make excuses to be a better girlfriend or like a partner.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely do think that there are signs as well, but I think I like that we encapsulated both sides. When you're the initiator, you definitely see the signs, and it is not easy to have that conversation. And then when you're on the other end of it, it's like you're going through a different experience, but you're both going through the same actions at the same time, and that's where the disconnect can come if there's no communication, right?
Yeah, interestingly enough, when we all talk about this, I've been on both sides, the initiator and being initiated on, but the whole thing has been communication, because the red flags wouldn't be red flags if you would be like, hey, I noticed this one thing.
Right.
Can we work this out, instead of like internalizing it and be like, yeah, that's a check mark, you know?
And
I'm-
holding
like,
on
we're
to
not,
it.
Yeah, like I'm not a DMV like driving instructor. I don't like I'm not writing demerits down. I should be talking to them, right? Like if something this bothers me, I should let them know. But at the same time, if the other person reacts negatively to something that bothers me, then we already know something's clashing. And in that case, we don't have to drag the time out for both people and stuff like that. So like it's really always boils down to communication. And I feel like there's a lot of times where people's fear of confrontation actually backfires in that sense. And
Absolutely.
that just leads just spiraling down and down until the breakups end up being a little bit more messy than they should
Then
be.
they should have
Right.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to just add, communication is most definitely important, but you have to tag on comprehension to that, because I can tell you everything that I think, could be worked on, improved, or changed. But if you don't understand why I feel that way, or why I'm coming to you and saying it, or what it is exactly, then nothing changes.
Right. And
Exactly.
I think too, like the couple of the times that I initiated the breakup, the guys are just like, well, why don't you even want to work on this? And sometimes it's like, even if like there's no point in communicating. Like you've identified a flaw that is just it's too big, and so like sometimes, like, obviously communication's super important, but sometimes there's just, you can talk about it all you want, there's no
Fixing
there's no
it.
getting over. Yeah.
Like kids, for example. One party wants kids, other person doesn't want kids. What's there to talk about? Like, that's a
Right,
deal
that's
breaker.
it.
That's done. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So I like the comprehension bit, because you could tell that to someone and they could be like, but why not? Love conquers all. We'll make it work. But it's like, bro, it's black and white to me. Okay, it's real straight to me. Hi, Foggy.
Okay, so that phrase always gets me when people say love conquers all. It's like, oh, it's all about love.
Love
It
is
is
not
not
enough.
about love.
Yeah.
I would argue that love is third on the list. You have to have first trust, second communication.
Ooh,
And if you don't have trust and
ooh.
communication, there's no love. It's
Absolutely.
just all false. It's all false pretenses if you don't have trust and communication.
I think
So
maybe we don't hold love to as high of a regard as we should, because there is no love without trust and communication. So
yeah.
technically love encompasses all of that. So these people that do say love conquers all, you best be loving hard if you think it's gonna conquer all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
you better be that confident in your love when you say things like that. But usually people who say that, they're not like, they're not that serious
Just
about
swept
it.
up in a fairy tale. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when people say things like that, they're typically the people that define love as that feeling when your body has that chemical reaction, that initial chemical reaction in your mind, where you're like, oh my gosh, the butterflies in the stomach. Oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. And then when those go away, when that honeymoon phase ends, because we all know it ends at some point. When it ends, then it fizzles out, and then that's when they start to see all the little things, all the flags that we were talking about earlier. That's when they start to realize that, oh, maybe this isn't the relationship that I want to be in, and then just repeat the cycle with the next relationship.
Or then start questioning, maybe this isn't love. But
Yeah.
I think that's something
Or that love doesn't exist.
Yeah, so it's something that we need to be more critical and conscious of. Or maybe I'm just like over critical, because as soon as I start feelings for someone, I'm like, is this lust? Like I start like analyzing the crap out of those feelings. I'm like, am I just lonely? 'Cause that's real too, which people don't
that
talk
is real.
about. What people
Right.
don't
Definitely
talk
real.
about. And I wish people talked about that more, because I think it would have saved me a lot of heartache if people had told me, like, this is something that normal, and this is how you might feel, and these are the type of relationships you might pursue because of those feelings, which we'll get into with the advice bit. But So we've talked about breakups and signs. So what do you think are some of the reasons that breakups happen? I mean, we know the regular like cheating. We know differences in faith. We know kids. I guess families not getting along if people care about that. What else do you think?
Well, for sure,
like,
families.
okay.
Sorry, go for it.
Oh no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying like for sure family is a really big thing specifically because a lot of people don't realize when you're getting into a relationship it might start out as you and the other person, but if anything has to come with it, and if you didn't want it to have an end, it's always going to be your family versus their family.
Ugh.
And a lot of times it's kind of like, do you think that means all of your family's baggage is on your shoulders, and all of their family's baggage is on their shoulders, and you kind of have to like clump it all up together, and that usually ends up being a very big problem.
Can you elaborate on
That-
baggage? Like, what do you mean by get baggage?
So I used to date this girl who, well, when we were together, it was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with any of the situations, or like, and there's nothing wrong with our dates or whatever. But then, her dad is a racist.
Oh,
He's
God.
He's intensely racist, and it didn't help that she didn't tell him about our relationship and stuff like that. But he was just kind of like literal like white supremacist level of racist, and like you can't blame that on the girl, but at the same time she couldn't find a way to break ties with her father. So it's like, what do you do at that situation, right?
Yeah.
And like I have no power in that. I have no say. And unless she in her own like way kind of like breaks out of that particular mode, then I can't be in the picture, you know. That's kind of as simple as that. And that's kind of the quote unquote baggage that I was
Excuse me.
mentioning. It's like, because you're not looking at just one person's personality, because it's very easy to be like, oh, if our families don't get along, then we'll just like excommunicate ourselves from our families and whatnot. That doesn't really work.
I
Like,
think
it
it
doesn't work
only
most
works,
of the
like,
time.
for example, in your situation, if your girl was like,
Exactly.
you know what, I'm taking that step for myself, not because of you. I'm not blaming you, putting that burden on you. I'm doing it because I want to do this for our life. I think we'll have a more peaceful life if I'm kind of just away and it's just you and me. We figure our shit out. Then I
Yeah.
think that could work, but you got to have some kind of strength to do that, to really, really detach yourself from your family. And I know,
Exactly.
side note, end of last year with all like the affairs that were happening in the world, there were a lot of people who have cut ties with certain family members because certain true traits and feelings and views on things have come out. So I know it's possible, but it's not easy. So I just want to put that out there. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not easy, and it is not on me at all as a person
Yeah.
to force the other
No.
person to do so.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only fair that, you know, you can only deal with what you know, and they have to deal with what they know. And if it doesn't come to be compatible, then you have to be a little bit more like, you know, it just falls out from there. But I mean, so that is one of the things that I have felt really strongly about, like, considering is like as a really big reason, is because if it's very easy, like Lars said, with the whole honeymoon phase, it's just the two of you, that a lot of things can be excused. But when real world drops, when like the actual, like, everything around you, your environment drops on you, and they are factors in your relationship, that is a totally different story from there. And how you deal with it as a couple is something that is, like I said, the whole trust and communication thing. Like, do you trust this person to be in their environment, in their work environment, or something like that? Or do you just want to have to deal with you know, people in their family or in their or immediate vicinity that don't have a negative feeling towards you, you know, like certain things like that. And, you know, for me, it was just kind of like, I'm okay with it for myself.
Damn,
but
you
I
strong.
will not be,
Oh my
but I will not be like, I will not have my heritage ridiculed. and I will not have my family, my parents
Mm.
ridiculed in any way. You know, like you could say anything to me. I freaking sticks and stones. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
You know, words. But that's me. That doesn't give you access to anybody that I know, right? And that's where I draw the line, and that's why, you know, that line was like set in stone. I wasn't gonna be able to have anybody cross it. But I think that's a really big thing. Just all the real world reasons.
The real world reasons that people don't talk
Yeah.
about, the people don't want to. I've talked to people about this kids thing because, like, for those of you who don't know, I don't want to have kids, and that's never going to change. And people are like, and I tell people that, you know, if I've never really been on a date, my relationships have always evolved through friendships. So I don't truly know what a date feels like, but I'm pretty sure if I did ever go on a date, your girl will be talking about all the serious stuff. Kids, family, religion, all the hard shit, because I'd rather you run away today than I get attached to you 3 months and then we have a serious sit down, which makes no sense to me, or at least my personality. I like to like get it out of the way. That's the real stuff. And people tell me, like, I've had people tell me, like, why would you talk about it so early? Like, don't you want them to don't you want to get to know them first and get them to like you, and then they'll be more likely to like mold to you if they like you? And I'm like, that's manipulative though. That's weird. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that. So I'm glad that, you know, we're talking about these serious real life reasons too, and not just, I'm not saying the ones that we've mentioned before are not real life reasons like infidelity and things like that, but what I mean is, like, these are serious deal breakers, like kids or family or religion, and those are the ones that I don't think people talk about enough, you know?
Yeah.
What about you, Tanepi? What do you think are the different reasons?
Well, I mean, I guess some of mine is I tend to like really romanticize people, and then
Ooh, that's interesting.
once things start becoming like out of the honeymoon phase, like Lars mentioned, kind of have my eyes open to like we'll just get real into it real quick. My relationship before Mark ended because we went long distance for a little bit for a job, and I'd kind of like been having some doubts, but I was like, you know, it's probably just me, like work this out. And he was like being really pressury for like nudes and stuff while I was gone, and I was like, look, I just want to play League of Legends right now, like I don't feel sexy, I don't want to take like any pictures.
Right.
And he called and and I was like, look, I don't think I did anything wrong, like I just, you know, I didn't want to do that right now. And he's just like, he's like, you don't understand how bad that hurts. I thought you were supposed to be the fucking empath in this relationship. And it was like, then once he came back, then I broke it off. Like it was really awful because I really like, I loved him and stuff, but like that was it. Like at that moment there was no going past that especially because once I brought it up, he was like, oh no, he's like, I don't really regret saying that at all. So like,
wait, and what does it mean to be an empath? What is the
like
word?
to have empathy? So he was not like as like sensitive and stuff as I was, which we talked about before. So he kind of was just like, oh, you're the one who's supposed to be so caring and empathetic, but yet like, you know,
and apparently because you don't want to do
nudes.
what he wants to do at that moment, that makes you not empathetic.
Right. And so it was weird. It was just, you know, like one comment or something, and we had been together for, you know, a little over a year at that point, but that there's just no moving past like being that cruel to someone you're supposed to love. Like there's just, that was it.
I love that Tanepi mentioned that, because I have yet to meet someone who has a similar outlook on relationships in that way. So we were talking about this on my other Real Talk, and we were talking about I think it was trust or forgiveness or something, and like once someone messes up, like, do you think that they're able to get their do you think people are able to change? And I was talking about something like I think people can change, but the onus is on the person who is changing to acknowledge and accept that if they've burned bridges with you, they're not like entitled to get those bridges back. Like that's up to the person who you've hurt, right?
Right.
So in Tanepi's case, I've been in multiple situations where someone will say, it's just like, you just gotta hit that right, really, 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 really soft and fragile spot for me. And if you touch that, if you just mess up in that one way, like it could like destroy the relationship that we've built for however many years. And I try to communicate that beforehand so people know not to push those buttons, but I think my buttons are really straightforward. Like, you know what freaks me out? Like, I don't want to have kids, so like I'm exempt from this, like I'm fine. But like, you know what always freaks me out? So I've actually heard from friends of mine that like they get pregnant and they're in a relationship with this person, and their partner is unkind to them during the pregnancy, or because they're suffering from postpartum depression. And my whole thought is, how do you forgive that? How do you move past that? I understand that you've just had a baby with this person. I get it. That's not the right time to break up or divorce or whatever. But how do you forgive that? How do you move past from, you literally just saw their true colors. You literally just saw that when you are in a time of distress and you're feeling like hurting yourself or hurting the baby, which is completely normal and natural. It happens to, you know, a lot of women after they give birth, that they're not there for you. They're not kind to you. And I see these people continuing their relationships, and I'm like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not in their situation, but that's a Tenepi moment for me. That's a bye-bye, baby. I'm out. Like, it's hard. So that would be a breakup reason for me, for sure. For sure. Yeah. What about you, Lars? What are some of the reasons you think people break up?
Well, before I say what I want to talk about, I just wanted to tag another thing onto the family that Mr. Music is talking about. So I'm Filipino, and for those of you unaware, in Filipino culture, it's essentially, if you're dating someone that's Filipino, you're also kind of dating their family, because we're very big on family.
Okay.
Very big on it. So in my culture, it's definitely really hard for that person to drop their family in order to, you know, continue the relationship. But I do think it's possible, but it's just even harder. Yeah, it's just even harder. But what I wanted to talk about was actually like the slow burn of willingness to grow together and to continue and maintain.
Baby,
that.
preach. Baby, preach.
Willingness
Go
to
off.
grow together.
This one gets me.
It's just the worst feeling ever to not only do it, but to realize as you're doing it that you are outpacing the person that you're with. It is just the worst feeling, because you know that you love this person.
Yeah.
You know that, you know, you've invested so much time, and in this, time is very important. You can't ignore it. You know, this happens when people are together long term. There's that saying of, don't let your boyfriend keep you from your husband. And you know, it just couldn't apply any harder. Sometimes people are just unwilling to grow, and when one person outgrows the other, it's over. You know, it's just a matter of time. It's a ticking time bomb. And if that person isn't willing to change, and I've seen it happen multiple times, you know, there's no moving past that. That is most definitely a deal breaker.
Oh, that's such a good deal breaker.
That one hurts.
Right?
That one hurts.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's so real. It's the truth. And I know Foggy mentioned this a while back, but we were talking about relationships and love, and I completely agree with what he said. Like, relationships are hard work. I always say that relationships are simple, but they're not easy. And what I mean by that is, it's simple to be faithful. It's simple to be kind. It's simple to be compassionate and empathetic, and, you know, be invested in your partner and you're in a relationship and making it grow. But it's work. It's work. It is work. And you have to actively make the choice to love them every time. Even when they piss you off, even when they drive you nuts, you're literally making the choice to be like, but I still fucking love you, and I still want to make sure you're okay, even though I'm so angry at you right now. it's work. It's hard, but
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you guys. I am like not in a relationship right now, but I am looking forward to like making the choice to love someone. Like cuz I don't think I'm capable right now. Like just through my experiences, I feel really like numb. But if like I can be revived and like I'm like excited to go through those like rough chapters with my partner and build and like grow stronger. Baby, I'm looking forward to that.
So I actually have something that ties to what you just said,
Ooh.
to what Tanepi just said.
Ooh.
And this is gonna be a little bit personal for me, but I know personally for a fact that empathy can be learned. I
definitely.
had trouble my entire childhood life in understanding emotions, so much so that I actually went and like there was like, oh, when you're in university, you get like these free counseling sessions and stuff, and go to like psychology counseling and whatnot, and they literally have told me that I don't process emotions like a normal person.
Oh.
I just can't.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
But for a relationship, I did actually spend time to be like, I understand. Instead of trying, if you have a problem, I used to be like, if someone has a problem and if they're sad, my first go-to is, what is making you sad and what can I do to change that?
Okay, like
What
fixing
can I give
it.
you a solution?
Right.
Yeah, a solution to fix it instead of understanding that you're sad. You might just want to be in the moment right now. You
I
know,
think that happens
and
with men a lot.
Preach it.
yeah,
And I
that
think
happens.
that's
Yeah,
because
that happens
how
with men
you
a
were
lot too.
dealt with. I think it goes
But the
back
biggest
to that.
thing was, yeah, exactly. And the biggest thing
Excuse
was that was me already in the process of trying to learn empathy, right? And the thing is, I realized it's like, okay, this doesn't work. All right, how about this? This doesn't work. Emulating this particular like feeling or something like that. Like I'm like going through the process of it, and it took me so long, months and months of a time, like of continuously trying to get to it. And it took me like, I think it ended up taking me like 2 to 3 years to actually be like, okay, I need to stop all of this thinking. You know, this stuff, it's not working. So if someone feels sad or someone tells me a certain situation, I'm like, okay, like this is I'm here for you. Tell me what you need from me, and like I'll be the one caring for you, because I feel now that everybody has they deserve happiness, and if I am someone that can give them happiness in any way, I don't have to fix problems. Fixing problems doesn't help happiness,
Right.
you know. So that's why I was like, when Tanepi said that line, that other person, I was boiling inside, because I was like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That's definitely not how it works.
Can
Like,
I ask
if you have that,
why
like
it was?
sorry,
Oh no, go for it. Sorry.
I was like, if you have the drive, if you have if you actually like, quote unquote, love conquers all, whatnot, then that's not the case, right? That's just selfishness, and that's not the same thing,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So I was just, oh,
Tanepi's like,
that one. No, that one got me. But yeah, exactly. But
I've got no shortage of stories from that relationship.
Right,
Just
I'm
wanna
just,
get ticked off. Not a sad talk anymore, just an angry
It's
one.
a venting session.
Yeah.
Session. Can I ask why it was so important for you to learn empathy, Mr. Music?
I realized that I was driving people away very easily, very, very easily, because I would pretty much, I don't know how to react to things a lot. And as a kid, if I was given Christmas presents, if they were useful to me, I'd say thank you. If they weren't, I'd be like, okay. And I wouldn't be happy or anything. Even if they were something that were useful or like is something that I wanted, I'll just say thank you, and that's about it. I wouldn't be like surprised or anything. And ended up being, a lot of my relatives would be like, yeah, this kid, something's wrong with this kid. Like there's like he's kind of boring. Like, cause like all the other kids would be excited at all their presents and whatnot, and I would just be like, opening the present. It's like, okay, we'll set this one out here, and then I just stop. And people were like, "Why'd you stop? There's so many other presents." He's like, "Well, my parents said I could open one present a day, and I chose one, and that's it. I'm done." And I'm just like, I'll sit there at the Christmas party, and everybody else was like having fun, and I felt like I was like, okay, I'm there, I'm having fun or whatnot, but everybody thought I was just being grumpy on the side,
Oh.
you know, and that ended up happening a lot in my life, and yeah, it started not being healthy for me, because the older you get, the more you realize that life is not meant to be lived alone.
Mm.
That's not how it works, you know. And in order to connect with people, you have to allow the connections yourself as well. You can't just have people kind of come talk to you and it's like, hey, what's up? You know, how are you doing? Because that just doesn't work that way. And that's why I was like, and when I had the opportunity to really like change for the better, I snapped at the opportunity, because that's how else are you gonna grow? How else can you, you know? So that's kind of how that works, I guess.
And you don't have to share, but did you end up ever like digging deeper into why you were like that as a kid? Did you ever figure that out?
I'm an only child.
Okay.
And my parents usually travel for work, and they actually work like long hours and stuff like that. So when I was a kid, they would give me rules, and I was the type of person that would never break them. So I would go to school, come back, do homework, maybe like an hour of video games or something at maximum, and then all the other time I had was taking care of myself with cooking or whatnot, and just reading and studying all the extracurricular activities, all the instruments that I play. There are like countless and countless hours of me practicing, and I just didn't have a lot of social connections.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't talk to a lot of people, and I didn't know how to make friends, and I didn't know how to like understand people, because most of my life at that time it was just kind of like, if you want to put it in a role playing game aspect, everybody was NPCs. At school, they were all NPCs. I was just sitting there doing my homework and then going home, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much most of the reason why. There was so many years of my life I spent not connecting with people that I just forgot how to, I guess.
Yeah. That's so, it's not just interesting, but it's also so inspiring that you are the way that you are right now, because no one would have ever thought that, you know? Right? And
well,
like,
then-
I'm
then
learning
I-
so much
then I
about you
succeeded.
right now, and I would have never guessed that. You seem warm. You don't seem like this person that you're talking about, the way you were. So if it's any consolation, you've come a long way, baby.
I'm glad. It means at least I did something good.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Serial. I'm so sorry I'm so late in saying hi to you guys. Hi, X. Hi, Cami-chan. Hi, Encrypted Thoughts. He's cool. I respect. I do too. Okay, so since we've all experienced breakups, I'm sure in multiple different, in like many ways, do you think there were, from your experience or from your thoughts, that there's one best way of of initiating a breakup, or going through a breakup with someone? So there's phasing out, there's staying friends, there's doing the friends with benefits thing, there's taking a break. Okay, I hear a lot going on.
It's gotta be a clean break.
It does.
You can reconnect later. Like I've had there's a guy, we were really good friends. We dated, we broke up, we took just like a little bit of space, and then we were friends again. But like I've had relationships where like the guy, like there was one guy I basically had to dump like 5 times because he just would not let go. And then like he'd be like, "Are you sure we're broken?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure we're broken up." Like the best, and like people.
Tanepi, the
guy that I
heartbreaker,
mentioned
guys. Oh my god.
The guy that I mentioned before would send me these like awful emails. Like that was right about the time I started streaming, was when that relationship ended. And like there were a couple times I'd be like streaming and be like, like my face would just go white and I'd have to leave because there were just these like pages of just
Oh my
nonsense. Like,
god.
the best thing you do is just not contact each other. My first boyfriend showed up at my house with this like 10-page handwritten letter, and I'm just like,
Tanepi, who you dating, girl? Oh my god.
There's a reason I saw this and was like, I've got to be on that. That's some experiences.
Oh my god.
But like, but then some of the healthier ones, like you got to, I don't think there's necessarily like a time limit before you can like reconnect and try to be friends again, but you'd have to have some space or it's just gonna be messy.
Oh
my gosh, Lemon.
What about you, Lars?
Wow, you said a 10-page
That's
paper?
crazy.
Yeah, handwritten.
Handwritten. Wow, that's gonna take up so much space in the recycling bin.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
it
true. Oh, you. Oh.
Yeah.
Did it feel good? Did it feel good?
Manifesto
Did it feel?
style,
It felt
that is
great.
scary.
Okay.
But yeah, I find myself agreeing. There's just no good thing that comes from staying connected in any type of way, because all that does is just promotes lingering feelings, and it is very possible for someone to then lead the other person into thinking there's a future if they do something like, oh, we'll just be friends for now, or friends with benefits. It leads that person to believing there's some sort of future, that there's a go back that you can go back to after you either, I mean, depending on why you guys broke up, if it's to find yourself or anything like that. In my opinion, it just generally does not bode well if there's still communication. I do think though that for a lot of times these people, we tend to see them as like the closest human being to us.
Yes.
Are so often times like our best friend. So to have that person being the main or even sole person that you confide things into, whether it be your emotions, your thoughts, the things that bother you, there, if you go from having that person as the sole person you share your burdens with, you share your inner secrets, your emotions with, and then you don't have that person anymore, that's devastating.
Devastating.
But absolutely devastating. Although I will say, still a better idea to just take that time and then reconnect when all either of you want is that friendship. Otherwise, it's not long enough. The break was not long enough.
I'm gonna be crude here, a little bit crude, and apologize for this right now, but this didn't happen to me. This was like one of my best friends, and I had to like literally like shake him by his, like, shake everything, all the bad thoughts out of him,
and all the
he
lunch
realized,
money.
I was just like tossing him around inside, but he had a really toxic relationship, and it was just terrible without going into detail about it, and they broke up. And the crude thing that I was going to say is, if you are having sex with the other person and you suddenly go from that type of role to being, let's just be friends, that means sex is still on the table. That means there's going to be people coming back. That's how that's how it
I
just
see
keeps
what you're
happening.
saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a clean break,
Gotcha.
that is something that always comes back over and over and over, because that is hormones, and that is completely all the chemical
familiar
reactions
connection, right?
exactly, that you yourself can't control.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, if you're in that situation where you're just like, oh yeah, it's gonna mellow out, it's never gonna mellow out.
No.
You're still talking to the person, you still have those feelings.
Yeah. And I would say, when it comes to that, a lot of that desire to have a connection is more so that loss of comfortability and that loss of familiarity with the person, than it is actually wanting to be with that person still, like for actual love reasons. Yeah. Some people hold on to their exes, don't delete that number, because they know to some extent, at one point in time in life, that person loved them. That
Yeah.
person unconditionally loved them. It, hypothetically speaking, if it didn't end in a very bad way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, yeah, of course, you just need to take a little bit of time and break. And if they did have something, and it never was toxic, it's just that they fell apart because of, really positive reasons, like we strayed in different paths, or like it was just a very amicable breakup. It very simply, like we love each other, but one of us wants to have kids and the other one doesn't, and it's just a choice that is a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
So you could still be friends. If that's the case, you still need to have some sort of a break,
Yeah.
or else you'll always feel your heart yearning for the other person.
Yeah.
You need to heal that wound first before you can be like, hey, yo, what's up? And
Yeah.
we could be friends again. And that indeterminate amount of time that you need to heal is so much more important than to try to keep a friendship that you might be able to later on reconnect with.
Yeah. If anything,
And
sometimes staying friends with them or phasing things out might actually hinder or mess up chances of you guys possibly reconnecting in the future as friends in a healthier manner. And also, I think it's important to note as a sort of like underlying disclaimer that just because it's not just toxic relationships and bad breakups that are the hurtful ones. It's also the ones that end for amicable reasons. The ones that are mutual, those hurt as well. Those take just as much time to heal from as those that you've been cheated on, or these other devastating things that people go through in their breakups. And I really wanted to mention that because and it leads to one of my questions, that do you think that if you initiate the breakup it hurts less? My opinion is it does not hurt less, because so I was the initiator in all of mine, but the one that hurt the most was the one that I actually saw a future with, and we were talking about marriage, and we had all the serious conversations, families met, like it was a whole thing. But we had our issues that we just could not work through, and they weren't infidelity, and it wasn't that he didn't care about me, it wasn't that he wasn't empathetic, it wasn't, I'm mentioning empathetic because that's a huge one for me too, and like I need my man to be emotionally mature and emotionally intelligent, and he was all of those things. He was a beautiful person, and and it unfortunately didn't work out, and I had to take the step to call it off. But it was hard. It destroyed me. And what sucked is anytime I would mention it to someone, they would be like, there was like absolutely no empathy for me because I was the initiator. So it was almost like I had lost my right to be sad or be affected by the relationship because I initiated the breakup. Which I think is such an unfair way of looking at it, because if they could only see how much it hurt me, if they could only see how broken I felt after that chapter of my life was done, and I had to learn to let go. I had to fall back in love with myself because I'd forgotten myself without him. I forgot who I was, because we eventually became one, right? We were so close. He was my best friend, and I shared everything with him, and I only wanted to be with him. So without him, I was like, who am I? I don't know who Ray is. So I just want to put that out there and say that you don't lose your right to be hurt. You don't lose your right to feel the pain and to go through the healing process just because you initiated the breakup, just because you made a choice that you felt would be better for both of you, your future. But what do you guys think? Do you think that if you initiate a breakup, it hurts less in any way?
no, not at all. I mean, there is an argument to say that it hurts more because you are actively needing to say something. The other person is just wanting to ignore it and go on, and you feel so strongly hurt, but at the same time, you know all of the good things. You go back and look at every single one of the good things, and you still need to make the call. that's tough.
Yeah.
And then keep
That's
the
so
call
much tougher.
open. Yeah.
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 So it's never, there's never an aggressor in this situation.
Right.
Being an initiating the breakup is not being the aggressor. It's just being someone that realizes that there's a situation that needs to be fixed, and if we can't fix it, then we can't, continue.
Mm.
That's, it's like, unless it's like one of those like really weird big argument thing, and then suddenly someone just says it and the other person goes, fine, 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 yeah, closed door, blah blah blah, slam,
Or you didn't really love
even in
them,
that
then it doesn't
situation,
hurt to break
exactly,
up with them. Yeah, I get
exactly. Like there are situations where people might see it, but at the same time, that is definitely not every single example. You cannot clump that together, and I feel that's incredibly unfair, and I feel that it's very very unfair for people to have the lack of empathy for that as well, and it's just, it hurts.
that.
It
Yeah,
definitely hurts in that sense.
it really does. So I stopped talking about it because I'm like, okay, well, no one's ever gonna understand my heart, so I'm just gonna like stop talking about it, Tyler, thank you so much for that scrumptious raid. I appreciate that. You could have chosen to raid anybody and you chose me. Thank you. Welcome, guys. My name is Solo Raven. I'm a Toronto-based variety streamer. I stream a little bit of Valorant, League of Legends, horror games, fitness streams, talk show, art streams, a little bit of everything. Welcome. Thank you for being here, guys. And I'll be doing 5 exercise reps for that raid at the end of the talk show. I hope you had a good stream, Tyler. Tanepi, what about you? Do you think that it hurts less when you initiate?
Definitely not. I think like the hardest thing about initiating my breakups is then you have to know that you're the one who hurt someone. Like you're hurting
Ooh.
yourself. You're still like you're still mourning, and then you have to like, because most of mine, those guys would have been like, if I was like, hey, I changed my mind, I take it back, they'd have been like, great. And so I had to, like, as bad as I hurt, like had to keep like be strong enough to not make that call when it like, so it's like you have to, I mean, it was, I think it's awful being the initiator.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Lars?
So I want to share like an actual personal experience of mine. I definitely think that it can hurt more when you're in the initiator. It's always dependent on the situation. But I was dating someone who for the year and a half that we were together, she was the person that I didn't just sing my songs to. She was the person that I wrote my songs for. And um, we one day we were talking about a future, and we came across the, just your typical future finances type of conversation. And it boiled down to, I'm just to say this real brief, she wanted to never struggle financially, never risk struggling financially, which is, nobody really wants that. She didn't want to have to live paycheck to paycheck. And for all of you guys who know, if you are a person who's pursuing some sort of art career or entertainment career, there is no steady income. There just isn't.
There's no financial security till
Yeah,
you
there's
like
no
really
financial
make
security.
it, yeah.
Exactly. And even though all of these songs that I'm putting out into the world, all of them are about her, that didn't matter. And I I asked her, would you break up with me if we struggled financially? And she said, yeah. So I took it upon myself. I took a deep breath and I said, yeah, I don't think we should continue this, because that's a deal breaker for me. This is my, I don't want to, and it wasn't a like she hurt me type of thing. It was
Right.
more of like, I
We don't
don't
see
want
eye
to
to eye on
put her
this.
through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to
Right.
put her through that. Clearly our futures aren't aligning with each other.
Right.
Of course I would never want to struggle financially, but that's not my choice. And the field that I'm trying to go into, there is no financial security. So it may be good for a while, and then it could be really bad for a long while afterwards. So, there's nothing that I can do to prevent that from happening. So, just to make sure that she stays uh, happy, I broke up with her. And I see it as she wants someone to, she wants someone that's at the finish line, whereas I'm looking for someone to run the race with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I always see. I would rather grow alongside someone than grow on my own and then just be with someone.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just my personal thing. You guys in the chat, you can disagree with me if you want
Yeah.
to, and I totally welcome that, because I don't think that my way is the right way. That's just
But that's
how
what
I
works
feel
for
about it.
you, and that's how you see
Yeah,
your future and your life.
yeah,
And that's,
yeah.
baby, you're gonna find your player too. I mean, you seems like you found your player too, and she's right there beside you. So boom.
I did. Yeah.
I feel
Mhm.
you. Yeah.
Going back to something you said earlier about having two people grow together, one of my relationships that I had to break it off with was literally that. I felt like I was working very hard to have to do to be able to provide
Mm.
as well as do the things to further my own career, whereas I could very clearly see that not only was she was struggling to find the motivation to do what she wants to do. And I will
Ooh.
try everything. I would try everything to help her, but at the same time, I realized that I can't I can't help her. I didn't have the time to, and I tried to be as supportive as possible, but that meant our trajectories weren't the same. And as much as all of the physical and the emotional parts of it line up, it didn't matter at that point. It was like kind of like how did her self-esteem feel seeing me go in a different trajectory versus her? Like it was almost as if the more I spent time to succeed, the more she felt that she had a mountain to climb,
Mm-hmm.
and the harder it is for
Yeah.
her to even continue. So and it hurt me so much, and that's why I said the initiator often sometimes hurt more, is like it hurt me so much to realize that I'm trying to do this to because I feel like it's not healthy for either of us, but I know that recovery time would be really really bad for the
Yeah.
two of us, and it felt really bad to subject her to that, but knowing that that is also something that she needs. And now, like after the many years have gone by that has happened, she's gone to be a little bit more to be steadier and stuff like that. It got really bad near the end. Like it was to the point where we were at a long distance relationship at a time, and when I even broached the subject, she would actually threaten self-harm.
Oh, jeez.
Mm.
And I was literally in no area to be able to help her with that. I couldn't help her. I wasn't even close. So and but at the same time, it's like, do I get like strung up on this kind of like emotional hostage situation going on,
Mm-hmm.
or do I have to like really drop the hammer and say something about it?
Mhm.
And even though it felt really sketchy at a time, we finally connected a couple years back, and she was fine, and she pretty much had to like we said thank you to each other, because like both we
Oh.
grew from that experience. Both of us knew how to kind of like deal with experiences better and understand that when you're actually doing when you're in a relationship, it is like exactly as everybody says, it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're at different speeds, that's not a dance. You just end up tripping on each other. So, and neither party is going to be happy.
No. I really
So,
like your
yeah.
example, and
Yeah.
it reminds me of something that not just a promise I've made to myself, but also something that I don't think that I find is sustainable for a relationship with me, I think I need to be on the same path of like having that drive to accomplish my goals and my dreams and be like willing to do the things that I need to do to make it happen and to improve myself as a person. And if my partner is not there with me, um like being broken is not sexy, you know. We all have been broken at some point in our lives, but we've taken the steps or are taking the steps needed to fix ourselves. And I can't be responsible for fixing someone. I can't be responsible for making you do things or going to find like helping you find the drive to live life and to better yourself. And that is not attractive at all to me. I love someone who is kind of like right there with me. And that way, when I fall, you can help me. And when you fall, I can help you. But if I'm always carrying you, like that's just not going to be healthy, right? And eventually my energy is going to run dry because I'm living for two people as opposed to just trying to fix my shit, right? And Lord knows I already have so much stuff that I'm trying to fix in myself and in my life and in my character that like I just don't have time to also fix someone. So I can totally see from Mr. Music's perspective how that kind of like caused a strain on his relationship, and you had to make that call. You just couldn't, like, despite how much you love them, despite how amazing, you know, the physical and emotional aspect of it is. Like when you really think long term, right? We can get through 1 year, 2 years is beautiful, it's exciting and it's fun, but when real life hits, you're looking for a partner, a companion, a literal right beside me, like a ride or die type of person, and they are in it for the long haul and they're capable of handling all the crap that's going to be thrown at you, right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely something that I have realized about myself, that I always knew that I wanted someone like that, but like now it's confirmed. Like I need you to have your shit together. We talked about this in my last real talk, the toxic relationships. Like there's this romanticization of being broken and how it's sexy to fix someone, and oh, I'm the reason now he's so much better off and whatever. I'm saying he because like relationship with guys, me. That's not sexy. It's really not. It's not sexy to fix someone. It's not sexy to be the only, in the sense that like I'm the only one who stood by him through all of his bad habits and abusive nature. It's like, that is not healthy. That is not.
No.
You deserve so much more. So guys, don't fall into that trap of feeling wonderful when you're put on a pedestal because you're the only, because those are manipulative lines that are given to you and fed to you, that if you don't support me or if you don't love me, who's gonna love me? Or what Mr. Music said, the self-harm, like if you leave me, like I'm gonna hurt myself. That stuff requires professional help, and I think that's another reason actually breakups do happen. Oh, can we talk about this? Because okay, I think I talked about this in one of my other real talks, but I think this is so interesting. We know the mental health conversations are becoming more rampant these days, and that's wonderful, and that's amazing that it's finally really, you know, coming to the public and more people are becoming aware of it. Do you think that it is unfair for you to break up with someone who is suffering from a mental health illness, such as bipolar disorder, such as OCD, such as schizophrenia, like any kind of mental health illness? We're not talking about bad mental health days. We're just talking about like the serious ones that require some kind of assistance, some kind of professional help. What do you guys think? Lars, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so that's a tough question, but generally speaking, I don't think it's wrong to break up with someone during because of any of those things like mental illnesses, bipolarism. Because I like to hope that you were with you got into a relationship with that person, and you knew going into it that that they were who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I think just on a base level, I don't think it's wrong to break up with someone is who does have some sort of mental disorder or any kind of disability or illness, or you know but for that to be the reason why you break up with them,
Mm.
I would say then yeah, it is kind of bad, just because I'm of the mindset of I date to marry. um
Mm-hmm.
I date for long term. I don't do casual dating. I don't do short term dating. My goal is to spend my life with the person that I'm
Mm-hmm.
with. And so, with that being said, at least in my perspective, I think it's wrong to put yourself into a relationship or a situation knowing full well that there's already some sort of pre-underlying condition or something in the relationship, or something about that person that you won't or you can't deal with long term. So yeah, in that case, I would say yes. But to break up with someone who happens to have some sort of mental disorder or anything like that, I don't think it's wrong.
Okay. What about you, Tanepi?
I don't think it's wrong. I think a lot of the time you think you can handle something going in, and then you realize that you can't. And then there's people who, develop things later, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Like my paternal grandfather was paranoid schizophrenic, and he had like basically he just came across like very spiritual to be like, oh, I like talk to God and stuff. And my grandma was a very devout Christian. She was like, great. And then it turns out like, oh no, he like really thinks he like talks,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's wrong to be like, if they're not getting help, anything, I don't think it's wrong to remove yourself from that situation. I don't think you're really obligated to stay in any situation you can't handle, even if like say you did know going in, and then you experience something that you didn't expect and you realize you can't handle.
Mm.
Like, you can wish that person all the best, but like, if I don't think you're ever obligated to stay
No.
in a relationship, even if they have a really good reason for it. Um, yeah, I don't think it's wrong at all.
As a person that have displayed quite terribly bad, like sociopathic tendencies
Mm.
for my lack of emotion, I understand. I think that the conversation has to be open about it, at all in all sides of the relationship. And that's the thing, that's exactly what Tanepi mentioned, is you might be super open about it,
Yeah.
and it's a term. Ultimately, most of the mental disorders at the very beginning of a relationship, it's just terminology.
Mm-hmm.
And you will
Mhm.
always be like, oh yeah, no, we're fine, we can accept it. But
Mhm.
that's not how it works. It's when the episodes come, it's when certain situations arise, is when
Mhm.
certain things just might not turn out the way you expect it to be.
Mhm.
And those I mean, quote unquote tests, in that
Mm.
sense, really
Mhm.
makes you realize, like, what it is to be with someone that may or may not have like some sort of like really debilitating disorder.
Mhm.
and and for you to be able to decide
Mm.
whether or not you can continue to stay with that person, that's as much of your choice as it is theirs.
Yeah.
Because nobody binds you together for just because it's seemingly more incorrect to. But that's not the case. That's not there's
Mhm.
no, like, there's no morality
Yeah.
involved when
Yeah.
you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk about a relationship like this.
Yeah.
You're there's If you're not compatible, it doesn't matter if it's a completely um a physical thing, or if it's a completely like an emotional thing. If you're just not compatible.
Mhm.
If you are, I do know the plight of certain people that now
Welcome,
have to
fellow Raven.
that have to deal with the fact that how am I going to find someone that would accept me for my faults? And yes, that is a plight that does exist.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean you can in a sense bully someone with
Into
terminology
staying
Yeah.
with you.
into accepting what
Yeah.
what you are. It's like we accept you, but I understand that I'm not the one that could care about this situation. I could to care for you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
In that
Like I'm not the
capacity.
one that can deal with it. Yeah, if like that's the thing. Like if you have your own problems, you have your own situations to deal with, and then you also have to deal with that as well. It's not. I mean, if it doesn't work, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's not on you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Someone
So-
said in the chat, it's
There's a lot of
It's
food on the
unfair to
way,
guilt someone
and your
into
girl's
staying in a
excited
relationship
to
for that
eat. I'm excited to eat.
because they have some sort of mental illness or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. Um, honestly, after hearing what you guys have to say, I did some self-reflection, and yeah, you guys are right. I mean, I did agree with you, but I'd like to retract the statement where, like, yeah, it's kind of wrong, because right or wrong doesn't matter when it comes to talking about a relationship, like staying in a relationship or breaking it. It's all about, you know, is it something that you feel needs to be done for either your growth, their growth, for your mental health, their mental health, whatever it may be. It like I think Mr. Music said, morality should not be take part in it, because then that's when guilt comes in. And yeah, like someone in the chat said, you just shouldn't guilt someone into staying in a relationship. Doesn't matter what reason it is.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think capacity, I don't know if Lars mentioned that, but that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking
capacity.
about this whole time. I was like, one thing I've become more conscious of, actually, ever since I started streaming, because I think that's around the time that I was going through my breakups. I was going through a lot of changes mentally in my life and really focusing on my life, doing a lot of self-reflection. And I tried to become more kind to myself and recognize capacity. Capacity is a thing. I think I spent a lot of my life always trying to fix people, fix situations, be the best person, the bigger person, the best daughter, best sibling, like always trying for that. And there's nothing wrong in that till you stop focusing on your needs and what you need to be healthy. And you give so much of yourself to people that there's not enough left for you and yourself. So I definitely have been focusing more on myself and like really hounding down on my issues and my complexes and my insecurities and trying to like break them, which is so draining. And for anyone who has demons of their own that they're fighting every day, it's exhausting. It's very exhausting. So I know for a person like me, for example, if someone did have mental health issues or any kind of illnesses that did require professional help, and they weren't seeking professional help or interested in seeking professional help, I'm not your person. Regardless of how much of a beautiful person you are, I don't have the capacity to help you. And that doesn't make you a bad person, because I would automatically guilt myself into thinking that that's a shitty thing to do to someone, but it's not. Self-care is very important and not focused on enough. So if anyone out there is watching and is in a similar situation, do not feel pressure to stay in a situation like that. Or if someone is manipulating you with self-harm, I knew a guy who ended up getting married to a girl because she was like, I will kill myself if you don't marry me and live with me in the basement. So he got married to her. Like, he did it. He got married to her. They got a court marriage, and he was living with her in the basement. Because he like disappeared from work for a while, and I was like, bro, you okay? And he was like struggling with some stuff. So I was like, are you good? And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm married. And I was like, don't tell me that girl. And he's like, yeah, man, I don't know what to do. Like, and I think he had bad relations with his parents, so he had moved out with her, or he had moved out, and she was like kind of staying over here and there, and she told him that if you don't live with me and get married, I'm gonna kill myself. And in situations like that, that's someone that needs professional help. They definitely need help. You know, that could be a cry for help. That could be their way. Maybe they don't even know that they're being emotionally manipulative in that way. Or maybe they're so desperate for help or love or care or attention or kindness that that's how it's coming out. So they definitely do need that help. So don't feel pressure to stay in a situation like that. See if you can find someone that can help them out. Don't feel the need to be that hero, because our capacity sometimes or usually isn't enough to deal with something like that.
I'd like to point out that I don't necessarily know if it's the right call, but in my situation, when I did break up with her, at that time, I did call all of her relatives, or anybody that I know of her relatives, and let them know that she had those thoughts. And to see if they were able, because I was long distance, to see if they were able to stop
check up
it.
on her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was, and then there
No,
was
that's a good
another
call.
instance.
Yeah.
There was another instance when she literally was on video cam, like threatening it with like the razor and everything. And I did end up calling the police and telling them that was something that is happening, and I don't know what to do, and there has to be something. And they did keep her in a facility for 24 hours to kind of like calm her down and everything, and that does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen, and if it ends up having to be an option, take it, because that is something that without professional help you cannot deal with yourself.
Yeah.
So
I
that's what I want to
agree.
point out.
And I actually want to take it a step further and go like super dark, but this needs to be said. Let's just say, God forbid, they actually follow through because you did break up with them, or you didn't comply and move into the basement and get married to them, and you have, with kindness and love and care, explained to them why. That's not on you. And I know that there are people out there who are dealing with guilt surrounding that. I think I know one person in my life whose partner committed suicide, and I think that they hold themselves responsible for that. But I think that person was struggling with their own demons, and they just could not fight them on their own. And it's not your fault for not being able to fight those demons with them. You know, we're not trained psychologists or psychiatrists or people who can provide that level of assistance to someone to fight their demons with them. So just know that it's not your fault. And I know people, when they're in that situation, of course you're gonna blame yourself. Or not even relating to breakups, if it's a friend that has said this to you, it's not your fault. I just wanted to say that, because I started thinking of this guy that had told me that his girl committed suicide because he broke up with her. My friends with benefits is extremely patient and understanding, although he also doesn't let himself fall victim to any of my emotional manipulation attempts during my breakdown. That is very good, Spades. That is very good. I've dated someone that had bipolar disorder, and he had therapy as well as medication. He was a sweetheart and loved me to the moon and back. However, since he took the decision to go out of his meds without his doctor's permission, it led him to be less predictable and more harmful to me. Even though it wasn't his intent to hurt me, we had to break up for our sake. Yeah. People use it as a crutch sometimes. If you constantly try to use it as a defense on why you do certain things, then yeah, exactly. And again, that goes to capacity, right? So if you have the capacity to understand that they're using it as a defense, and you can kind of overlook that and still stay in that situation, then you're golden. But if you don't have the capacity for that, it is not easy. It is not easy. I don't think it's wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
So no, yeah, it's just there was a point in time where I was not as steady as I am now, and I would spend so much time worrying about other people and then helping other people, especially like the people and like in relationships, I was always the better man, the bigger person. You know, I always
Exactly.
had to, and then you one day you kind of like you have a little bit of a problem, and the other person is just like, oh, you could go deal with it, and then you just look at and you're like, wow, I'm actually in a fucking mess as well, you know, like it's like that's there's a lot of shit that I have to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and but then that's kind of like if what do you do at that situation? Do you like just completely leave yourself on the wayside? That's not gonna that's not healthy, you know. And capacity is a very important thing to do and to mention and
Mm-hmm.
to realize is that there's time for you and there's time for the other person, and if you're not healthy, if you're not well, whatever help that you're offering to the other person is not necessarily good as either.
Yeah.
Really, it's just bandages, bandages for the
Yes.
wound. You know.
Yes. Very, very true. Thank you guys for answering my side question that I had not put on the agenda. And I'm so sorry for that audio. First of all, Lemon, thank you so much for sending me a scrumptious treat. My sweet sister worked so hard. Hope you fill your belly with food after your day of work and thank you so much, and I'm so sorry that it was so loud. We're like talking about something so serious, and all you hear is, "There's some food on the way." I'm so sorry. So sorry. I pseudonym. Okay, so we're at like the halfway-ish mark. Do you guys want to take a pee break, a washroom break, water break?
Yeah, I could use a bathroom break.
All right, bathroom break it is. I'll be right back. Hi, encrypted
Refill some
thoughts.
water real quick.
Yes. Sorry for breaking your ears. I like it when you break my ears, Lemon. Oh my goodness. Just gonna catch up. I'm Mr. Music for right now. You know, just don't mind us. We're just switching spots a little bit. Hi, Habibi. Oh, well, now I am Lars. All right. I just want to hug and squeeze you into comfort, Lemon. Yeah, right? I had an ex get angry at the fact that I requested space for my safety and then said that the only thing that they could do in order to fulfill that. God, Lemon. Don't comfort me, comfort that person, bro, right? What are you saying? My ears are still ringing. I was in another tab and didn't see the alert pop and I was so confused. I'm so sorry, Subby. Alright guys, I am going to capacity honestly hit different. Capacity is so important. It's so important. It really is important. I developed stomach ulcers because of how much I would take. Yes. Yes. And it's real. That's a real thing that happens to people. Or you have your own nervous breakdown, right? Okay, sounds good. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom.
dear.
What
I
happened?
apologize. I forgot that I would screw up the camera.
Oh, it's.
My
I'm
bad.
still Mr. Music. It's cool. It's cool.
Hey yo, Bruno
I'm Lars.
Lars.
Hey.
Looking good these days.
Yeah, like the hair color. No.
Work it, honey.
Work it, honey. God. It's 100% real. It comes from the stress.
Oh my gosh, I'm
and
solo Raven now.
imbalance. There you go. All right, next question, Solo Raven.
My God.
Jamie, I was eating a Cliff Bar.
You don't take any nutrients from anything you consume, and you just become an empty shell of body. Yeah, and that's why capacity is so important to talk about.
Yeah.
Hi, Vidoc. I'm just catching up to make sure I'm not missing anything. Was just out of the ask that. Okay, awesome. I have caught up, and we are going to go on to. So we've talked about signs and leading to a breakup. We've talked about reasons people break up. We've talked about mental health issues and breakups. What do you think of social media and breakups? Do you feel like there's any role that it plays in breakups? I can't actually comment on this one because I've never been in a relationship where I've made my relationship status public. Like, I've never put pictures of my partners on my social media or talked about it on social media. I'm like a little private in that way. So I've never had to like go on a deleting spree or like block and delete them because I've had issues with them. What about you guys? All right, Tanepi, you go first.
I mean, mine aren't super dramatic, but like, I mean, the amount of times like it's, you know, my first boyfriend who was, it was not like one of the, it was the 10-page letter one, but he's like,
oh goodness,
he's
okay.
not a bad guy. We were just very like first loves early in college. Like we're still like, we're not like friends, but we're friendly at this point. But post breakup, I'd always like creep on his page because he would write these really like sad dramatic things on Facebook. And I knew his Reddit account, and he'd write really sad, dramatic things on his Reddit account too. And so I'd read that and feel guilty. And then like I'd post the picture, and I got bangs, and he was like, he'd have to message me and be like, "Oh, you look really good. Like, I'm sorry," but so just really like it really like extended because it wasn't like we weren't really talking. But like you'd see all this from the other person, so it's sort of like it wasn't like as clean of a break as it could have been.
Okay.
And so it was really sad. And eventually like it was fine. We're still like Facebook friends now, and it's, you know, it's fine because it's several years later.
Yeah.
And then I guess like my other one is sort of like a funnier thing. Like I had a guy who we weren't officially together, but he like I really wanted to be with him, and he sort of was like leading me on for a long time. Oh, sorry, I turned around and my cam's blurry. There we go. And so like he finally cut things off, and I was heartbroken because it was a taste of rejection I hadn't had in a long time. And I like worked really hard at getting in shape, and I went and visited my friends up in northern Montana, and we took a bunch of like swimsuit pictures. I was like, look how much fun. I'm sure he didn't care, right? But at the time, like
it felt good to do
really
it.
good.
Yeah. Oh god.
But yeah.
Tyler says there was a girl I was talking to, and I told her that I wasn't feeling it anymore, and she put on Facebook I had STDs and stuff. Little does she know I couldn't care less what people think of me. What is wrong with people? I don't understand.
I don't have like I have a similar story because this was before like social media like really popped off.
God,
like this was before like Facebook was really good, like really big or anything. But this was like high school, so I would expect high school drama. Long story short, I found my girlfriend cheating on me with one of my best friends.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Ugh.
And I was very like at that point I was just like I was still at the point where like I don't really know how to feel it, but obviously this means we're gonna break off. Like, this isn't a good thing, number one. And number two, if that's the case, then, and I don't want to deal with it, and I do feel hurt by it, I just don't want to pretend that you exist at that point, you know? And apparently, after a few weeks of just me completely ignoring her, because it's still high school, I still bump into her every once in a while, but I just don't think that I don't really feel like I need to offer anything anymore, because obviously there's something that you decided that I wasn't enough or whatever, or I guess we didn't spend enough time. Regardless, I am not the person that can give you comfort anymore. So we're in separate worlds. But she went around saying stuff about the beginning of our relationship, and said stuff that that implied that I forced myself upon her. Said stuff that implied that I was in some sort of gang or something. But I lost a lot of friends. I've actually lost most of all contact with everybody that I knew in high school because of that. Because she's the sweet and innocent person that everybody loves at that point. And
so they wouldn't even think that there was anything incorrect or false about what she said.
Of course not.
Right.
And they wouldn't think that she would be the person that would initiate anything like that in that capacity. And then like I was at that point where I'm like, why would I want to turn it into a he said she said and say, but she cheated, you know? No, that doesn't work that way.
Right.
You know. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. If you guys believe her, believe her. If you guys really don't believe her because you know me for who I am, come ask me. Come talk to me. You know. And literally, out of all the people that I knew, one to two people came and actually talked to me. And I was like, okay, I know my real friends.
Right.
Yep.
These are the friends that I get to like keep after high school.
Yeah.
But everybody else, you know, if you just believe that, you know, then that's not how it works anyways. Right? So, and those two friends, to what Excreational said, those two friends, we are still really good friends right now.
Yeah.
And most of them don't last, but that's yeah. It's ridiculous, but that's my social media.
Yeah.
In that sense. And it hurt more in the recovery than the breakup, because it felt like, well, so was I in the wrong? Was I supposed to accept that situation? You know, like I began to question that, and it made me look at relationships differently for a while, and that I think hurt the most. But yeah, other than that, yeah, social media itself though, it's kind of weird, because my same friend, the best friend that I had that kept going back to his toxic relationship. It was literally because both of them kept looking at each other's social media and liking every single post that they did. Like, it was like, oh, this is how sad I am, and then the ex just goes like, and he's like, oh, she liked it. I wonder if she and I was like, stop it. Please
Oh my
stop
gosh.
it. Like, that's not how it works.
Oh, that's rough. That's another way of dragging it on too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Without actually like talking, it's like you're talking via likes or via posts, because you're posting about each other and you know that post is about you. Yeah, I luckily have never experienced that, but I'm sure if I had, it would keep me hanging on, especially if they were saying things like, that moment when you missed the way that they looked at you or something, and you're like, I know you're talking about me. Right?
Like, God. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, luckily I haven't experienced that, but another thing also is, I'm sure it gets awkward having to like go and delete the photos, because then the nosy people will be like, oh, noticed so-and-so's not on your feed anymore. Did you guys break up?
I didn't delete anything.
I've never deleted anything either.
Really?
It's still a part of my life.
Yeah,
I think I deleted like one thing because it was like, I don't know. But in general, it's just like people can look and be like, oh, you were with this person in 2009. I don't, you know, the relationship isn't gone. Those memories aren't gone, and just because it's over, like it still happened. So I don't know. I never deleted anything.
Cool.
I've also never deleted anything. To be
Ooh.
fair, I never thought that I looked good in pictures, so I never posted a lot of stuff about me. Like most of it, like throughout a lot of it, it was just like, this is the place I've been here.
Right,
This is
right,
the food
right,
that I've
right,
eaten.
right.
It's never about me or the people I'm with. But then, like, even with those pictures, I don't delete them because it's just like they're experiences. I mean, good or
Interesting.
bad. That if whatever happened, and they've made me the person that I am, and I have to thank them for that. You know, I've become a better person. I've evolved or grown up because of that experience. So, however hard or terrible I felt at that point, that doesn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why I just leave it up.
Yeah, Subtractic said the same thing. He's like, maybe it's not your profile picture anymore or whatever, but you don't, and you need to feature it as a content on your page, but the
Exactly.
memories still exist. Yeah. I kept in contact with one friend, but she threw me under the bus for a guy that liked me because she liked him. Oh, that's such high school garbaggio, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. I forgave her, but she couldn't forgive me for him liking me. It was wild. What? How is that your fault? Oh, that's like those side note on TikTok, you see the like jealous best friend or whatever. She's like, "Why would you wear that top? You know he likes that color. I'm trying to get his attention. You know he used to like you. Why would you do this to me?" Like, it's disgusting. And I'm like, I am so glad I wasn't like that when I was 15, 16. You know, I was involved with the sports and shit. I didn't even like, sure, I crushed on guys, but like, I never got to that extent where I'd be fighting over guys like that. That's just sad, bro.
Yeah.
Sad.
I mean, but then I think in a sense, like, it's bad to see like actual grown people pull that stuff
True.
off.
True.
But the thing is, if you're in high school, that is a microcosm of the community that you eventually grow out of. You're stuck with
Should
the people that
grow
you're around
out
with. Exactly. Should. You're stuck with all the people that you see around you, and you see them day in and day out.
Yeah.
And you know people by name, by heart, depending on how big your high school, depending on how. But then you're at the age where you're starting to feel these emotions, and these are the people that you see every day. There's no change. There's no Tinder. There's no like outside influence. Now, once your world is shrunk to be so small, that's when the infighting starts, because how many people are there?
I see what you're saying.
That can
Yeah.
be seen, you know. So it's kind of like it's weird. It's a weird situation, but it is because, you know, like, when your scope is narrower, it is much harder for you to accept other people, and it's really easy for you to fall and crush on someone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're just learning all these like emotions and all this stuff, and everything's so
Exactly,
intense.
right.
I get how like crazy stuff happens in high school.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
That's why, guys, if you have kids, get them involved in sports, get them involved in clubs, get them involved in that stuff, because then you don't have as much time to be doing this garbage.
That's where you meet all the people.
Really?
though, right?
I
Like,
didn't.
Yeah.
At least in like
Yeah.
by like
Yup.
theater and everything. Theater
Oh.
guild,
Theater
I
is the
didn't.
worst.
Oh my gosh.
Drum. Oh my god.
I never-
It's
I'd
the
see-
Drama
I
kids are
didn't
so
ex-
horny.
They're so bad.
Probably in touch
They're
with their emotions
bad.
too, so like mix the two.
Oh, it's so
yeah.
bad.
See, I didn't experience
Drama
that.
and speech. Drama and speech.
Well, I never did speech. It's just a drama and like lots of like
Oof.
music stuff and yeah.
Oh, I don't think I did that either. Maybe that's why. Cause I hung out with like I was into like that stuff that like no one goes to. Like I was on the volleyball team. I was on the chess, like in the chess club, like that nerdy shit that like people in that club most likely are not trying to, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why. But like I'm sure I would have had the same experiences as if I was in like art clubs or theater clubs. Yeah, thank God I did not let myself get involved in that stuff, because like I think my high school would have been very different and I would have gotten into a lot of trouble, let me just tell you right now. So yeah, Lars, what about you with social media and relationships?
Well, so for me it's kind of weird. I've had to like grow out of this terrible habit that I used to have of posting passive aggressive like depression posts.
No.
I was
Yeah.
I was that person, and I'm
Well,
willing
look
to
at you
admit it.
now. Look at you
Yeah,
now, though, right?
yeah.
Migrated to Twitter instead.
No. You guys, if you follow my Twitter, I don't post stuff like that. But I don't know, for whatever reason. I think the best example of this is when I had my first crush. It was the fifth grade dance. I'd asked this girl to be my date. She said yes, and then she later on
Mm.
said no the same
Mm.
day. Got to the
Okay.
dance. Got to the dance. Went through the whole. I looked as best as I could. I was trying to impress her. Ignored me the whole night. I went outside, just put my head in my arms, and just like was like, I hope she sees me like this, and she did. But she did not have the reaction that I was hoping she would have, which was to feel sorry for me and want to take me and come,
In
ask me
her
to dance and stuff.
arms,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, the next day of school, she was like, "I don't date crybabies," and that was just the beginning of a spiral of just let's have Lars learn that this is not what you do.
Oh
let's
my gosh,
This
that's
is not what you
horrible.
do. Yeah, granted, we were young, we were kids.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Yeah.
so now, and throughout high school, when social media is like just really started to boom, I just wasn't in relationships.
Mm.
And the only long relationship that I had been in, or at least the only long relationship that I had been in since then, she just absolutely did not want to make it public. Like
Mm.
that was her thing. Like she didn't want me to say her name or say that I was dating her. Didn't want it to just in her mind, it was just an us
Just
thing.
you and her, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I respected that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have I didn't have to go and delete anything because there was nothing to delete.
Right. And that's really nice of you to respect her and respect her
Yeah.
wishes.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely
Wanted to,
post about-
100%.
Mhm.
Right.
as silly as it is, and I told my current girlfriend this, as silly as it is, I want to post in a relationship
Yeah.
on that
Good.
Facebook thing, like in a relationship with
Status has
that
changed.
the dumbest thing for me to want is something as silly as that, to make it public. But it's, I'd be lying to myself if I didn't admit that that was something that I wanted to
Mhm.
do,
Mhm.
to be openly public. And I think part of that is because the last person I was with was just
Mm.
very
Mm.
closed door about
Mm.
it.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I didn't have anything to delete. I don't think it's wrong to keep up public posts of, when you were with the person.
Mm.
I don't think that's wrong. And I I don't want to segue into something into another one of the topics.
Mm.
Um, so I'll end it there.
Oh, the pictures one?
Yeah.
You know what? We can go there. What do you guys think about risque pictures? Because I think I'm okay with that as well. Like if I was in a relationship with someone, they had pictures of me on their social media, I think I'd be okay with that. It's never happened to me, so I can't say for a fact. But I think if there were, but then would I be okay with them posting risque pictures as it is on social media? So like we're gonna not, yeah, right? No. But
No.
if someone keeps risque pictures of me after we've broken up, I don't think I would be personally okay with that. I know I have done it. I have definitely kept them because it was my way of like reminiscing on our intimate times, that when I missed them and I missed that warmth and that comfort, I would receive it from like, wow, I had someone in my life who would send me these kinds of photos and like, wow, they looked so good, and like, wow, this was our time together. But after, of course, taking time to like really reflect and be like, this is not right. I shouldn't do this. So I like deleted stuff. Or if I do have them now, it's not to my knowledge because there's a whole folder of our relationship of like notes and pictures and videos and like loving stuff to each other that I just haven't touched because I haven't had the stomach to do that yet. So if I do have anything in there, it's not because I'm like trying to keep it. It's just that I can't look at that stuff yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I get you. Yeah, for me, I always treat things like that, like very personal pictures, like intimate pictures, risque pictures, or videos, however you want to, whatever it may be. I always treat it as it has fine print. Like, this is acceptable for you to view
Till.
while you're with me.
Right.
While you're with me. Afterwards, I always delete it
Because you sent it in the capacity of a partner.
exactly.
And when you guys
yeah.
were sharing that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I see it, honestly. I have come across some interesting situations where they were like saved to a cloud. I deleted it off my phone, but it's saved to a cloud. So when I got a new phone and I get my pictures, I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to have this anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's where I see it. I think you delete it. If you keep it, it really only does harm to you.
Yeah.
It really only makes you just look at it occasionally and want them back.
Yeah.
But
It's true.
yeah, so I think it's just healthier to not only cut ties with them, but to delete the stuff. The those kind of things are really personal, intimate things. But if it's just pictures on like posts that you both have put on Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram or Twitter or whatever, I think that's fine
Yeah.
to keep.
Mm.
I think for me, I treat it for me, like if the pictures were sent to me,
Mm.
100% like what like Lars said, there's fine print, and in the sense that I would feel very uncomfortable if that like seriously, and not only that, the interesting part is it wouldn't, like, once again, I don't mean to be crude, it wouldn't even be sexy anymore, because all you think of when you see if you see the picture, you're like, oh, all those shitty times, that one time, like, oh, like like you just remember all of the bad things, and you're just like, oh.
Damn, baby, I remembered all the
No, like,
good
it's like
times. Okay.
like like if it, like, honestly, that would probably, that, like, there's so many ways to interpret that, right? But then
Yeah.
but in reality, it's kind of like you respect, if when you break up with a person, you respect that that's no longer your business, and if that's the case, like, I'm not keeping anything of that capacity. That's not what it's kind of creepy. But if it's the other way around, if I have sent something to someone, I have no qualms of them if they want to keep it, whatever. I have already relinquished that to you. So it might be creepy that you keep it. It might be very, very, yeah, and it might, like, if you, like, suddenly randomly look at my pictures or something like that without my knowledge, that has no effect on me anymore. And I will sleep perfectly well at night, knowing that regardless of what you do with whatever I've given you, that is stuff that I've relinquished to you during our relationship, and that is, I willingly did it. And I did it without a caveat of, what if we break up? There's none of that. So it's whatever you do with it is on you. That's my way of thinking of it. So, but yeah, I wouldn't personally keep anything, but if someone kept something of me, I wouldn't be averse to it either.
Do you think that's a good thing to maybe discuss, like, when you're going through a breakup? Like, I would like you to delete all my photos and my videos, because I have said that when going through a breakup.
Yeah.
I have let the
yeah.
person know, because then they know where you stand.
Exactly.
You're not okay with them keeping the stuff,
Yeah. If you are, like, hard not okay with it, like, you tell them,
Absolutely.
and like, that's, and not only do you tell them, but you have the right to be like, this is seriously, I need to, like, for the sake of my own, like, well-being, emotional well-being at this point, I need to see you delete these stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff.
And there's nothing wrong in that.
That is, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Especially if something about their character has made you question your trust in them, or they have made you the trust that you have in them waver in any which way. you do have a right. Like I've had a situation where I've asked someone to delete pictures that I had sent them, and it wasn't like 100% right off the bat. They were just like, they actually kind of threw it back in my face and said, I could ruin you. I could like
Oh
share
my
these
gosh.
with
Wow.
people that you associate with. And I was like, oh my goodness, how do I play this cool so that they don't know that they have this much power over me?
Yeah.
But that's just a shitty thing to do. And I think I think me and someone else were talking about this the other, I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about pictures and pictures getting out. And we kind of both agreed that like it's not going to be a good time if our pictures get out, but at the same time it should say something more about the other person than about us, because we shared it with them in a private capacity and they chose to make it public.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? So it's more about them. And also, side note, do not share private photos with your friends of your
No.
partners.
Yes.
Why do
Oh
people
my
do
gosh.
that? It's
I
disgusting.
don't know. It's so
It's
weird.
disgusting. It's absolutely atrocious. I was the story I always tell you guys, and those of you who have been on my channel for a minute, I was working with someone, and all of a sudden she was like showing me something on her phone, and she just showed me her phone, and it took me a second to register what it is, but I was looking at a dick, and I didn't even know I was looking at it because my mind wasn't there. We were talking about some next thing, and then I was just like, and I like did a double take, and I was really looking, and she probably thought like, ooh, you like that? Oh, you admiring my boy, my man? But like, I was literally like, what is that? Like, what is that? And I didn't know, and like that time I wasn't the person I am today. Like today I'd be like, bro, chill. Like, why? Ew, gross. Why, bro? But like back then I was like super shy and like very timid, didn't like stand up for myself, or I couldn't just like snap her out of it. So don't do that. And it's a common misconception that only men do it. Girls do it too. Don't do it. It's gross. It's private. It's private.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I think the best thing to do if you take photos like that is to not have your face in the pictures. True, but like if your partner is into, seeing a bit of your face, you should be able to trust them, and hopefully they keep that trust. And even if you end on bad terms, that trust is still there.
Right.
Yeah. The thing about that is, that falls along the lines of like blaming the person who sent the picture as if they're the ones that are maliciously posting it. So I don't think that, while it does make sense, like for you to have some sort of safety net is to not put your face in it. The real issue is the person is maliciously posting your image without your consent. That is the issue.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there are some things that people can use to determine that it's you, like if you have birthmarks, tattoos.
True.
Yeah.
So
there are distinguishing features that, even if your face isn't in the picture, it's still you, and everybody knows it that have seen it, that's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Music. Sorry,
Yeah,
you were saying something.
No. Yeah, I was just agreeing.
You were saying something earlier about when you had one of your breakups, and they had spread rumors about you. It made you look at breakups differently.
Relationships
differently. What other ways have breakups impacted you guys, or what are some lessons that you've learned from breakups? So, Mr. Music, you want to start us off?
So my entire journey has led me into realizing exactly what I mentioned at the very beginning of all of this, was that love means absolutely jack shit unless you have trust and communication, because a lot of the breakups really, what does it boil down to? The whole cheating thing, the whole I think you're doing this, or like all the accusing thing. That's the trust part, right? The religion, the having kids, or like the emotional, that's all communication.
Yeah.
You don't have either of those outlets, you're already having a really big problem. Like even just the whole, our trajectories are different. comes in part with communication, like talking to the person, like, hey, you know, we're on different wavelengths right now, like we need to figure out something to work it out, you know, all of those things. And I feel like every single one of my breakups have gotten me to a point where I realized that the infatuation that you get at the very beginning,
that high,
that chemical, you know, the whole honeymoon phase, that means very little. That's, you know, that means very, very little, especially if you date to marry, if you're looking for your
player two
partner.
Your player two.
Exactly. You know, that when that is your goal, then that feeling doesn't matter. I mean, there is a high to it. I mean, it feels good, but overall, what will that net you? Nothing, unless you have trust and communication. So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I did spend some time, like, literally just like, nah, I'm not gonna be in a relationship. That's not gonna happen because of what happened in high school. It's just like, what do I need people for? That just, what do I need a title for? Like, that's the big one. I was like, I didn't need to have anybody, like, or like at least know anybody long term. They were like, I didn't feel like I needed that connection, that emotional connection, until I realized, you kind of do. That's a thing, you know, and it is different. But yeah, that's I mean, that's how the breakups have impacted me, I guess.
I would actually add that high that you feel initially is like just a taste of the high that you feel when you are deeply invested in someone and you get to that stage when you do have that deep connection, and you know you get to the point where you feel each other's pain, and when they're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, and you're trying to like help them in whatever way that you can, and all you want to do is just please them, and all they want to do is please you, and like that's how you kind of like make it work, and you balance each other out, you complement each other. And I think that honeymoon phase is more of like the infatuation and that lustful beginning, but that true I personally feel that you can still have the honeymoon phase deep into your relationship when it's not just the infatuation. You just got to get past that bit, and if you are still strong all the way. I was in like a 3.5-year relationship, the one we were planning to get married, and those 3.5 years were freaking magical. Like people would look at us like, aren't you guys tired of each other? You guys spend so much time together, and you guys are like very all up on each other, not like physically, but like we were huge fans of each other. And I was good. Like we could even be in the same room and like not talk, not have to like be super close to each other, but just like knowing he was there, and for him knowing I was there, it was just good enough. We just had that vibe, you know. And so don't also take that as a takeaway from this talk, that the honeymoon phase will go away and that's it. We're just talking about the honeymoon phase. That's that lustful infatuation bit. It can stay, but you just have to work at it, because then it's the real shit. Like you can make it last. You just got to work at it.
Good.
Yeah, that good. Yeah. How about you, Tanepi? How have breakups impacted you, or what have you learned from them?
I just pretty much every relationship I've had, I've learned a lot about what I like in someone else, what I don't like, what are deal breakers, like lots of things that I realized should have been deal breakers early on, you know, signs I didn't see, and then reflecting on like, oh wow, okay, this, you know, next time I know to watch out for this and this. Like I dated a couple guys, I guess, where our faith didn't match up. It was like, you know, but they're a good person, we can make it work. And it's also like, no, you can't. And so it's like, I was like, all right, I know we have to have that foundation, you know, shared, which is an obvious one, but it took me trying to make it work with someone else for me to actually, you know, really internalize that lesson. And just a lot about like myself and what I need to, like my early relationships was very like clingy. Like I was like, I want to spend all our time together, and if you want to go do something else, like why don't you want to be with me right now? And I was totally that girl in my like earliest, and then near the end of that relationship I was like, wow, I don't want this anymore, and he had become the clingy one, so like we kind of grew up. So I really
Interesting.
learned that like I need like I need my like my space. I'm a huge introvert, so it's like there's nights I'm like I would like to sit on my computer and I would like to not talk to anyone at all, and I need you to just leave me be. And that's something that it took me a lot of relationships because to really figure out that that's just who I am, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you
'Cause
need your
before, like,
counterpart to be healthy enough to know that it's not because they did something wrong or you're not avoiding them.
right,
That's
right.
just
Like now
you.
with Mark, I'll be like, "Hello, I'm introverting tonight.
Done.
Bye." And
Right.
he's like, "All right, I'll go play League
gets
or
it.
something," right? Because otherwise, it just doesn't, it just doesn't work. Like I know the guy, this poor guy, if he somehow finds this VOD, he's gonna be so mad. He did used to follow me on Twitch, but I think because that was when I was first starting. I think he unfollowed. So hopefully he isn't seeing my social media and seeing him anyway. Basically, like I had just built my PC and I was supposed to be in like this League competition, and he was like, "Well, don't you want to be over at my house?" And he's like, "You use my laptop, which got like 25 frames per second." And
Let me guess, he
but I
wasn't a League player.
No,
Oof,
he's Destiny.
that's a deal breaker for me.
Destiny console guy, yeah. And anyway, like, and I can't believe this was me just a few years ago, because I was like, okay, and then like he and his roommate were just like getting drunk on Coors Light and being really loud, and I was trying to be on voice chat with a bunch of people, and now it's like looking back, I was like, I've learned so to stick up for myself, because now it's just like, like, no, I'm not coming over, like, no, I need this to my own thing. So yeah, I guess just like through a series of failed relationships, learned what is actually healthy and normal, and what my needs are.
I love that, because I grew up with watching my parents, who are like university sweethearts, in the sense like my mom was the nerd, my dad was the popular guy, and they hit it off, and they're the type of people who always want to be around each other. They love it. They can spend hours just talking about whatever, and they'll just be they want to do everything together. And so I grew up watching that, and I was like, yeah, I want a relationship like that, not knowing myself. And then getting into a healthy relationship, I was like, actually, I'm pretty like self-sufficient. Like, I'm good being by myself. I'm like Tanepi. I need my days where I'm just like by myself. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's not because we're fighting. It's not because I'm mad. I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm literally just like need my time alone. But what I do need from my partner is to take interest in the things that are important to me. So you don't have to like everything I like, but like, I know this is gonna sound so silly, but I need my man to play League. Like, I need him to play League. Like, you cannot get into a relationship with me and not love League. Like, if you have shitty things to say about League and you hate it a lot and you're gonna talk to me during team fights, and you need to know, you need to just be able to come by, look at my screen and be like, babe, we'll talk later. Like, you need to know, do not disturb me right now. Right?
But that one's not fair, because I'm the person that'll be like, I hate League. All right, let's play another game.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, that's fine.
Yep.
Oh, that's fair.
Yep.
Oh, that's fine. No,
So,
I mean like people who are just like raging constantly and being like, I hate this game. I hate this game. I hate this game. Why you make me play this game? I hate it. Like that.
Oh, man.
We all have a love and hate relationship with League. Can we agree with that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, true.
Right? That's a true
Yeah,
League
I'll play,
player.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be fine. It's just if I have a partner who's like more into, let's say, fighting games, and that's all he plays, we're probably not gonna hit it off, because I play Tekken, but there's only so much Tekken I can play, or Mortal Kombat. Like, I need raging, huh? Hi, RP. But like, if you, better yet, if you want to like maybe like be my jungler and like gank me. Or like we can duo bot, like that's hot, that's cute. Oh my lord, like, and they're not gonna get that. See, that's the thing. They won't get that if they don't play League or if they're not a gamer. So I think those are things that I learned about myself. Like, can I be with someone? Can I be with someone who's emotionally constipated? They're super sweet, they're super caring, but they don't know how to communicate their feelings. but they show me that they care about me. But I realized I can't actually. I need that like level of support that comes with words. Like
Yeah.
you see me and you tell me that I'm beautiful, or I do something good and you appreciate me. Like words of affirmation really get me going. Like I need that from my partner.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, we're not even gonna go into languages of love because I feel like I'm a split between all five. Like, you better give me all five because I'm gonna give you all five. So I need all five. Like, I need you to be kind to me, and but like gifts are on the lower end. But don't get me wrong, I love gifts as well. But yeah, breakups have just taught me and have taught me my self-worth. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
after my breakup, my real relationship breakup, the marriage one, that like completely destroyed me, like dismantled me as a human being, and I had to like piece myself back together, and I'm still recovering, and it's like 3.5 years, 4 years later, and I'm still kind of dealing with the lingering emotions and all of that, but I think the type of relationships that I had afterwards really taught me that when I'm lonely, I can be very self-destructive, and I can enter into situations that I never thought I would be in. And when I don't think highly of myself, I can put myself in dangerous situations, um, where I will just settle, and that can be really, really devastating and crippling. So I know now to recognize or question myself, like, am I doing this out of loneliness? Am I doing this because I'm lonely? Instead of just like really diving deep into things, I really take a step back and try to question things. And I think breakups have also, I've only really had like two real breakups. Um, but yeah, they've just taught me to be more careful with my emotions, more careful than I already am, I guess. How about you, Lars?
I'm glad you brought up self-destructive tendencies, because that is me in a nutshell. Um,
Oh.
or at least historically. Um,
Mm.
I have let going through a breakup just absolutely terrorize my life, to the point where uh, I'm an extroverted person,
Mm.
usually, but I just shrink into myself. I don't talk to anybody. Um, I ruin opportunities. I stop hanging out with people. I stop talking to people. I stop doing all kinds of things that generally would probably, or would have probably, like, helped me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I've quit jobs because of it. I stopped going to school because of it. Uh,
Oh,
it
Lars.
it just, in the past, it has affected me in such a negative way. But it's my inability to, get through with the breakup
Mm-hmm.
without you know applying it to the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And now this, mind you, I say this because this is in the past. I feel like now I have tools, the resources, and the capacity and the ability to no longer let it affect me in that way. But there is some beauty in breakups. For one, it's learning more about myself,
Yeah.
realizing that in the situation that I had brought up earlier about the financial struggles thing. I realized what I wanted, um, and even though now it's not the same, like, I'm not pursuing music as a career anymore. I do it some it's a passion project for me. I do it because it makes me happy. I'm not doing it for money or fame or
Mm.
anything like that anymore. um, and I think I'm a little bit better off because of that. But breakups and all that, in those darkest moments of my life, I have written my favorite songs, my
Mm.
personal favorite songs. And it's not because I love being sad, or or anything like that. It's more, for me, it's more along the lines of, that is the in the way that I captured my feelings,
Yes.
how I was feeling.
Yes.
It I chose the words perfectly
Yes.
to just say what was on my mind, um, in a way that it's clear, concise, and straight to the point. And even if I don't feel that way anymore, it definitely
Oof.
is still something that like I can go back and be like, dang, I wrote
Right.
that.
Right. Right. And when you're happy, you won't write the same. You won't write the
Exactly.
same.
No,
Yeah.
No.
it's you could try as hard as you want, but
Yeah.
when you're happy, it just will never come across as heartfelt as something that's sad,
Yeah.
even if it's used with the
For
same
sure.
inspiration. And you use the same concept, the same technique, the same everything. It just doesn't feel the same because
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sad songs are just
yeah,
better anyway. It's just a
yeah.
fact.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think the
people tend to attach themselves more to the negative aspects of life as opposed to the positive, which is why whenever we think about all the things we've done and all the accomplishments we've had, we still dwell on the things that we haven't accomplished yet, on the
mhm.
things that we need to improve on. That's just how we work as human beings.
Focus more on the negative. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best example that came to mind when you said that is there was a Christina Perry song, I think it was Jar of Hearts, and there was this whole discussion about how when she first sang that song and performed it, she was going through heartache, and you could hear it in the way she sang that song and the emotions she conveyed with the way she sang it. But once she found love after she had healed, and she sang that song again, it just hit different. It didn't hit the
Hmm.
same way. So when you're
Yeah.
happy,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit the same way. And uh wait, Lars, you can you jog my memory a little bit? I'm blanking out. You talked
Hmm.
about um breakups going through. Oh, I wanted to say that the way Lars dealt with breakups in the past is a very normal way that a lot of people are impacted. It could impact your work relationships. It could impact your attendance to work, your willingness to work, your
Yep.
willingness for self improvement, your willingness to achieve your goals, accomplish your goals. Um, I do want to say that that is something that is very normal. And I wish when I was going through my breakup that people had told me more that it was okay to feel that way. And
Hmm.
it is okay to have those days, and we should be kind to ourselves and accept that that is just part of our healing process. And of course there's a limit to it, meaning it shouldn't go into a completely super destructive path, or it shouldn't go on for many years maybe.
No.
But like, let yourself have that chapter, and Lars let himself have that chapter. So I wanted to say that there's people that have probably been affected that way as well, and I just want them to know that it's okay. And Local said, breakups have set me on a path of emotional identification. I love that. I love that phrasing. And I also like that you mentioned facing your faults can be exhausting. I wanted to add that breakups have taught me accountability, because
Oh
whenever
yeah.
I finish a
Definitely.
relationship and I look back on it, I try not to just put the blame on the other person. And that comes with time. Like right when you're fresh, like you're hurting, right? So you're trying to put the blame on someone.
Yeah.
But when you really take a step back and you look at how you contributed to that relationship and what you
Hmm.
could have done differently, it is such an essential part of the healing process that I think a lot of people overlook. A lot of people. So if you are going
In-
through a healing, make sure that accountability is part of the healing process. So actually that leads us to the next question, recovery. So do you guys want to describe what a typical recovery of yours looked like, or do you guys want to talk about what you think the ideal recovery would look like? Is there an ideal recovery?
So interestingly enough, I've always had the exact opposite of most people how they feel, is in that I feel that it is 100% my fault every single time this is
Oh.
breaking up. Almost always, I would always look at it like, okay, this is what I could have done, and this is why this turned out that way and that's what I turned out that way. That which makes me an ideal league player because I get to get. I'm not blaming it. No, but regardless, yeah, that's. I felt that it was so much. It was really really hard on me because I kept thinking every time it's like why is this happening to me? What could I have done better?
Right.
What did I do wrong? And I would look at it in that facet and a lot of recovery was really bad, marred with flings that I didn't need to have, drinks that I didn't need to drink, and amongst other substances, and it just ends up being really really detrimental, and that is almost even a form of self-harm in that sense. And it gets down to the fact that it really, if you're healing from something like this, it's so helpful to have true friends, like to have friends that are there to be able to be like, I'm sorry, it's not your fault, you know, someone to just have those words to tell you to realize that, you know, just the words that get spoken is enough for you to be like, okay, you know, let yourself go, you know, you don't have to be accountable for 100% of it in that sense, but the time it takes, there's times where I'm just like, okay, you know what, screw it, I will go and buy myself a freaking 5,000 piece puzzle that is just white, and I'm going to do this puzzle now. You know, like I will do stuff like that and just be like, I'm spending time to get myself off of these thoughts, but at least quiet time so I still can reflect on them. Because you can't drown out your thoughts. If you drown out your thoughts, those thoughts are always going to be there.
Right.
You gotta embrace them.
You have to. It's the only way to truly heal. Like, you really got to face them. They're hard to face. They're not fun. It's not going to be a fun process. Recovery and healing is not a fun process. But it's necessary.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, yeah, reflection and something calming, and just having friends. Being around friends is so important. And that's why from the very beginning, the being grateful about, you know, friends is a really real thing. Because that's, if you have people to turn to in your time of need, that's much more of a godsend than any like surefire way of healing.
Yeah. Which, let me tell you guys, there isn't.
There is no.
There isn't.
No.
That's the kicker.
Yeah. What about you?
And everybody
Lars?
experiences it different ways.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, yes. Please mention that. That's such a good thing to
But
say.
yeah, everybody experiences it differently. You know, there's always the anger, the lashing out, and blaming the other person and stuff like that. And I mean, every single person will try different things to help them heal. You know, and it's as if you're a friend looking in on someone that is having that difficulty, the best advice you give them is really no advice.
Yes.
And just be there for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you can't understand how they feel. You know that that's something that you felt before, maybe, but the situation is different. So you cannot understand the exact feelings that they feel. So what can you do at that point? You can't just try to fix it. That's not a problem to fix. It's something that you can just be there and you know, take their hand or give them a hug, you know, and do something in that sense to help them go through with it. But the recovery has to be on themselves. Man.
So when shortly after the breakup, is there something that you do shortly after that's sort of, do you ever have a cry session, or do you straight go to the puzzle stuff that you can think?
100%. Guys, please cry. Please. I swear to God, that is an outlet it feels so good.
It does.
I feel attacked.
It really does. What? For what?
Because I just for being such an emotional person, I just I
You're
never
not a
bring myself
crier?
to cry.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel the pain. Trust me, I feel the pain, but I just can't get myself to cry outside of yawning.
Hmm.
It's
Wow.
I mean, but then that's the
Shocked.
thing. Like, there's a lot of situations where it's not even the guy's, it's not even the person's fault that
Mm,
you can't bring yourself to cry. You know, it's
yeah.
there's environmental things, there's the way you've been brought up, and
Yeah.
then there's even just
Yeah.
the fact that
Yeah.
that you don't have that feeling at that point. But then I just want to let people know that whatever society says, whatever your environment says, and whatever your upbringing says, it is okay to show your emotions. It is okay to cry. It is okay to feel bad because you're feeling bad. I mean, who
Yeah.
gives a shit? Like, really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I feel
You
that
know.
in my spirit, baby. I talk about that so much on my stream because I am so tired of these strange standards that men are brought up to live by, okay? You're told to the boys don't cry and don't cry like a girl and suck it up and move on and be strong and all of these. So you're basically taught to suppress a very natural emotion, a very, very human emotion. But
Mhm.
then when you get older, you are shamed and you are attacked for not being able to be empathetic, not being able to express your feelings, not being able to cry. Maybe
Yeah.
if men were groomed in a way where it was safe for them to feel those things and feel safe to express themselves in that way, they would grow in a healthier manner with their emotions. So I feel very passionately about what Mr. Music said because it is
Yeah.
something I am very, very passionate about coming from an immigrant family. A lot of immigrants, it's like tenfold. When you're a guy, you're taught don't be like a girl and all this garbage shit. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. But thank you, Mr. Music, for mentioning that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Uh, so I don't know. Maybe I can attribute it to when I was a kid, and I don't remember much from when I was a kid, but I do remember certain things. Like when I was crying in public, and my dad told me, "You're ugly when you cry. Stop crying." And that's
Oh.
Well,
kind of
that'll
just
do it,
stuck with
man.
me.
That'll do
Oh my
it.
gosh.
Yeah, that's kind of. I guess yeah, that may be the reason why. I mean, it's not to say that I don't cry. It's just for me, it takes like not just one singular thing. It has to. It takes like every little thing that's bothered me or that bothers me to just pile up, and then I get to that point.
Yeah, when it's your
Yeah.
breaking point. It's your being
Yeah.
overwhelmed that usually it hits you.
Mhm.
Aside from pain, instead of pain.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does your recovery look like, Lars?
Um, I just for me, um, people always say that it just takes time, which I wholeheartedly disagree with.
Mm.
It's not time based. I don't think there's any like, oh, 6 months after the breakup you should be good to go. Like it's
Completely
not that.
subjective.
A lot of times it's very situational, and it could be getting the closure that you need. Um, and it varies, but as far as like coping mechanisms go, I've always just turned to music because that's always been my outlet. So I'll write a song, or like my 2018 Spotify playlist tells wrapped playlist tells me, I just blast every sad song I can think of, scream it at the top of my lungs if I have to,
Yes.
over and over again, just play it.
Yes.
And for me, that's what helps. That's what gets me from being up here to kind of mellowing down and just being able to be at okay, I'm calm enough to really just think about how I'm going to get through this, how I'm going to go about the next few days, weeks, months, however long it takes, for me to officially be over the breakup.
Mm.
That's for me.
I love that Lars mentioned that he thinks time, just time is bullshit because
Mhm.
I actually agree when I put
Definitely.
thought into that because it's not just time. You can't sit there be sad and hope in a year you'll fix it. I think just like the relationship took effort and time and hard work to build, it'll take effort, time, and hard work to heal from it. I 100%, like 1000% can say with confidence that if I was still the person I was 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago, whenever the breakup happened, and I did nothing about it, no active self-reflection, no active self-reflection on accountability and healing and really looking at the pros and cons and what happened in the relationship and all that, I would not be anywhere close to being healing. I would still be that person taking the car, going on drives, crying at night, going to the gym, hoping to just catch a glimpse of him, driving around his neighborhood, just like staring at his car and crying. Like I was that person, and I was in such a sad place, or calling him crying. Like I would still be that person. Even though I was the one initiating the breakup, I went through what Tanepi was saying that she had to fight, that urge of calling back the person, being like, I messed up, I want you back. And I'm so glad, I'm so glad that he didn't take me back, because it would have never worked out. But I do think that recovery is hard work. It is a disgusting process. It is awful. I don't wish breakups really on anyone, because it can really be earth shattering. It can literally be completely destructive. And for me, my recovery was basically working out hella hard. I just kept going to the gym. Like I would be working out maybe like 3 hours a day, be like 2 hours at the gym, 1 hour of hot yoga. Guys, hot yoga, no joke, no lie, you feel like a new person when you walk out. So highly recommend, if you're ever in a...
Sounds awful though. It sounds miserable.
Yeah, because you sweat out the old
It's
person. That's
so good. It's so good. Like when you walk out of there, your pores feel like they're just absorbing a new fresh oxygen. It's beautiful. It's a great feeling. I would highly recommend. It was like perfect for me when I was going through my breakup. I just dove right into working out, physical fitness, volleyball. I really went there, which really helped. And I also started streaming on Twitch to feel less lonely, honestly. Even if no one was watching, it was nice to just hear myself speak, so I felt like I wasn't lonely. You know what I mean? So find yourself again. As much as you're sad, find yourself again. Try different things. I tried belly dancing. I tried pole dancing. I tried floor play. I did floor play, not foreplay. Last time I said that, someone thought I said foreplay. I tried multiple different activities and tried to figure out like what was making me happy, what wasn't. And of course, nothing was making me happy. I'm not going to be like I was cured, but at least I was doing something, and I was trying to find time to just kind of process everything. And the best thing that you can do, or what I did to myself, is I overall was pretty kind to myself during my healing process. I gave myself the days to cry. I gave myself the days to call in sick to work. I was blessed enough to be in a workplace where I was able to do that, but I know that that's a luxury that a lot of people do not have access to. And I'm sorry if that's the case for you, because there are really days where you don't want to go into work, because you're just not okay. Right.
Yeah, the whole for when I mentioned like the whole puzzle thing, that's exactly what I mean. Like there's this sense that you want to do something to try to spend the time to actually process and be better yourself and improve, in the sense that you want to get out of that situation.
Yes.
And like the whole time thing is so subjective. You
Yes.
can't just say you take time, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Every scenario won't be exactly the same. You can't just be like, and I'm good. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
You know, like that's
Yeah.
not how it works, right?
And I like what Mr. Music just said, that you want to get out of the situation. That's something important to note too, because for me, when I first went through the breakup, I didn't want to be better. I wanted to be sad. I wanted to be miserable. I wanted to cry. I wanted to feel shitty. I wanted to feel like this was the worst thing ever. And there's nothing wrong in that. Like, let yourself just feel shitty and be miserable. And, you know, I didn't want to heal. I didn't want anyone to fix me. I don't want to be fixed. I don't want to get better. I was resistant to healing. until I was ready. And I was like, I'm tired of being sad. Like, I remember like bawling my eyes out to my mom, and I was like, I'm tired of being so sad all the time. Like, I want to get, and that was my shift in like, okay, I think I'm ready to like address the issues and do some healing. But I love that Mr. Music and Lars have said so far that everyone's journey is going to look different. Everyone's going to heal differently. Everyone's going to pace is going to be different. Yeah, there's a time for letting yourself be upset, and it's okay if it's a very long time, because mine was a very long time, and I wanted it to be that way. And also I like that they mentioned that no advice is the best advice that you can do. Like, no one can fix you, no one can heal you, no one can take away your pain, and you just got to go through the motions yourself. So I think all of that is what my healing journey looked like. It was a lot of solo healing. Solo Raven. It was a lot of solo healing, for real. What about you, Tanepi?
So mine has typically been a little different because I take a long time to decide if I want to end something. So like a couple of my relationships, I'd been like debating this in my head and kind of coming to terms with it for like months before I actually was like, okay, this is, so by the time the relationship,
So you're already ahead
ends,
of it.
yeah. So, and I'm not saying this is like a good way at all, but it was how like mine have gone. And so I normally had like a real intense but short like mourning period where, yeah, I think like after the guy I mentioned earlier, I like, it was like maybe a week and a half. I called in sick for the first few days, and I just like laid in bed, and like my mom called and she was like, well, when are you gonna feel better? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm not ready yet. So I did the exact same thing you did. Like, I'm not ready to feel good. And like my
I don't want to feel good.
I remember my brother and sister-in-law came over with like a care package of like treats and stuff, and I just sort of moped and watched a bunch of anime. And then like by the time I'm out of that, I'm normally like pretty okay. Like some of the best times I've had have actually been like right after that mourning period, when I'm sort of like rediscovering like, oh, I can do whatever I want, because like even the guys I've dated have been really good guys, have been pretty smothering historically. And so like I'm just like, oh my gosh,
it's liberating.
I can just like eat dinner when I want and not have them be like, oh, you ate without me. And this is like in college and stuff, and like I can sit down and play a game of League, and no one's gonna be like, why aren't you coming over, or like, what are your plans? And like I'm accountable to no one. And like, so it's this always, once I kind of am over that really intense thing, I normally feel great. And then, you know, I'll have like you know, days or like something would remind me of them, and I'd get, you know, really down and be like, ooh, did I really make the right decision? And stuff like that. But a lot of my, just that rediscovery of who I am was always really, really like it was always really good for me. Spending time with friends without being, you know, worrying about like having to deal with the significant other being like, oh, what are you up to? And you know, just kind of, yeah, letting myself be myself again. And you know, like the morning process, obviously you're like really sucked, just like sitting there crying all the time, not wanting to eat, not wanting to do anything. But mine's short and intense. And then I'm good.
So a quick aside, I wanted to mention, because and let everybody know that why it's okay to feel sad and things like that is so I could actually document the breakups that I've had in conjunction to how much of an empath I can be because of how I felt emotions and stuff like that. And when in high school, that was, if I say it right now about how I got cheated on, and it was with my best friend. I lost a lot of friends, and I found out on New Year's Eve, you know, like when things like stack on over and over again, and how I dealt with it, where I was just like, okay, we're good, it's fine. That ended. That was so unhealthy. That was so incredibly unhealthy, because I felt like there was so many like suppressed feelings,
unresolved
that I
feelings.
Yeah, I could have resolved in that sense, but I was like, okay, no, I'm just gonna full stop this right now. And that was because I didn't allow myself to feel those
Yeah.
feelings. And when you get to a point where you're able to allow yourself to feel happy, you also have to allow yourself to feel sad,
Yeah.
because that is the range of emotion that you have, and that all of it is part of you.
Mm-hmm.
So like the more happiness I could feel, the more that I feel I could connect with people, the more I realize that when you feel sad, that there's a time and a place to feel sad. There's a time and a place to just lay in bed. You're like, I don't want to get up right now. I don't want to do anything.
Okay.
Right.
And it's just like that's it. That's very, very important as well. So
Yeah.
never think that you could just suppress it. You can't just suppress all your emotions and then one day you'll die. That doesn't work.
It's not healthy, and it's not
Yeah.
healthy. Subby says, historically, I've done a lot of just bottle it up and ignore it until it goes away. I try to deal with things. Over the last couple of years, I've started to get better about letting myself feel and acknowledge things. I'm so proud of you, Subby, and I really do hope that this journey that you're on is liberating, because it, like, just reading that, I feel like liberated on your behalf of the feelings that you're probably sorting through, and I'm really happy for that. I'm happy for you. Sometimes we forget ourselves because we're so caught up in loving the other. 100%, Lemon. That's why after the breakup, you like are basically falling back in love with yourself and reconnecting with yourself. At least that's how it felt for me. You know, when breakup happens, and usually a party that's already gone through the mourning before the breakup happens officially, it's normal to be working at different paces.
Yeah.
Local says, I learned that forcing yourself into situations can have bad repercussions. And it goes the same way trying to force yourself out of situations. So in the healing process, I let the poison run its course. Oh, okay. So if you notice the situation is leading to like a breakup, for example, you don't force the end of it, or you don't force yourself to stay. You kind of just like go through you just like let it run its course. Or did I totally not understand that correctly?
I think he meant what you were talking about too. It's just the fact that if you break up and you just kind of like let the sadness take over for a bit first before you and like just don't force yourself to recover immediately.
I love
because,
that.
like, it's gonna.
Yeah. Thank you, Local. Thank you, Mr. Music, for clarifying that. I appreciate that. Yeah. The healing has to be done yourself, but having someone by yourself through it can... Okay, I really like this point that Subby mentioned. I do want to take a couple moments to build on it really quick. There are a lot of people who enter into new relationships hoping to be healed by that relationship, but I feel like that is not the correct way of going about things, and it could only lead, in my opinion, to the other person getting hurt, because they're like a clean slate trying to help you and heal you, and you have all of these like insecurities and baggage that you're kind of bringing on without having addressed it by yourself. So I 1000 agree with Subby in the fact that the healing has to be done yourself, and it does help having someone there, but you got to have been doing the healing by yourself and have like at least 90% of that baggage like sorted out, compartmentalized, done your self-reflection, done your accountability, done all of that. And then if you have some residual feelings or things that you still got to work through, I think it's 100% beneficial to have someone there with you. But there are some people who like completely just be like, fix me, and that's not fair. That is not fair at all.
No, not at all.
No.
You want like you essentially, when you're in a new relationship, you should be free, or at least be able to carry your own baggage. You don't want a bellboy. You can't just be like, here you go, all right, I'm good now, like I don't have any more baggage because I just gave it all to the bellboy. You know, you can't find someone to be your bellboy in that sense. If you don't enter every relationship with both kind of like mutual clean slate, it's just unfair.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is
so
unfair. It is unfair.
Yeah.
And Letitia says, on the flip side, it took me a long time to tap into feeling that sense of self and freedom while not being broken up. And in a 13-year-old marriage, oh my God, I used to depend on those breakups to feel renewed and really motivated. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't ever use someone else to heal you. It hurts both parties. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Hi, Raven Main. I didn't say hi to you when you came in. Guys, I know we're almost at the end of the show, but there are still a few questions. Do you have a cutoff? Are you good for time? I want to respect your time. Do you have a hard cutoff for 9?
It's not a hard cutoff. No, I can go for a bit, not super later, but I can push it a little bit.
Okay.
Same.
How about you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I know Tanepi mentioned the mourning, and that's how she described the healing process. So some people do describe breakups as like mourning the death or grieving the death of a relationship. So what do you guys think about that description?
I think it's pretty accurate. I've been mourning like an actual death for the past several months, and the
Oh my
process
God.
is very similar. Actually, it like reminded me a lot of the breakups. I mean, obviously much worse, but it is like that, just that loss.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty accurate description, at least in my experience.
Yeah. I think it's the loss for me too. I think Lars was mentioning that before, where he's like, when you're in a partnership with someone, they're like your best friend and your confidant, and you talk to them about everything. Something funny happens and you talk to them, or like you see a meme and you send it to them, or like something good happens in your life and they're the first person you think about, or you get a job interview and they're like the first person you want to call and tell, or you find this really cute dress that you like and you're like, oh, I wonder if he likes it. Like all of these things, and then they're just gone. Like you have that person. It's not even no one. That person is not there for you to share that with, and that your other half is basically gone. And at sometimes when the relationship ends, you see a different side of the person, or you have seen a different side of that person that has led to the breakup. So you're also mourning like the death of that person or that version of the person that you knew. For me, that's what I think hurt me the most and took the longest time to come to terms with, because the person that the guy was after our breakup, the way he treated me, and this is by no way blaming, maybe this is how he had to cope with the hurts and whatever he was feeling, that was his healing journey, but the way he treated me nonetheless did really hurt me. And it's like I couldn't recognize him anymore. He wasn't the person that I was in a relationship with for 3.5 years. So like seeing that and internalizing and accepting that, oh my God, my so-and-so is gone. Like he doesn't exist anymore. Like I'm literally mourning the death of this person, or this version of him. And that like destroyed me. But yeah, I do think it's like grieving the death of the relationship, the times together, the future. You're grieving the death of a possible future with this person. It's never gonna happen. And all the plans, all the things that you think you were gonna do are just not gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Lars, what do you think?
I don't really have a lot of experience in this per se, just because aside from one of my relationships, all my relationships were pretty short. So I never really got to that point of
Right.
where I just valued the relationship like to the level of losing a loved one. But I definitely could see that as being a possibility. Yeah.
Mr. Music?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that even if the two of you got back together, it's no longer the same relationship.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You come back into it with different expectations, with
Yeah.
as different people.
Yes.
So when you break up, that is that relationship. That is the end, full stop of that relationship. There is nothing that will change that fact. And I think that is probably what is akin to how people describe breakups. And I mean, I have had, experience in kind of like both camps, like, the loved one versus the relationship and whatnot. And when something ends in your life and you will never get it back, that hurts. Regardless of how it hurts or when it hurts or how heavy it will hurt.
Yes.
And I guess that would be the kind of the death of the relationship type thing. That's kind of the description that it was trying to, the line that is trying to connect. But that's, I think that's the big one. That's very, very important to realize is you can't get it back again. But that also helps you give you a little bit more context in how you should look about healing, in the sense that you shouldn't go and like everything on Instagram, and you shouldn't be like, you know, going through and be like, oh no, we could still be friends with benefits immediately right after. Like that, none of that works, because what you've had before, when you've broken up, full stop, ended. And if you try to start something new, you best be sure that the both of you are in a better place, or in a different place, in a more compatible place before you do so, or else it's not going to happen, and it's not going to do well.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, guys. And I know we talked a little bit about the time bit. So something that I heard a lot is the length of healing is usually equated to at least half of the relationship that you had with the person. So in my case, for example, it should have apparently taken 1.5 years to heal. I'm here almost 4 years later, my friends, and I am not completely healed. So I can definitely tell you from personal experience that that's bullshit. But what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be the same for everyone, but if you averaged everyone out, that could be about right. It's probably it. But I mean,
Sure.
For me, it's been historically much less. Sorry, hair in my mouth. But yeah, I know a lot of my other friends and stuff who it's been much more. And my exes, it was much more.
True. Right.
Yeah.
Same relationship, but different.
Different
right.
length of time. Yeah.
I think this goes back to Lars's point, and I want to mention that anybody that thinks that they can time the healing process versus the relationship is a person that is trying to make sense of something that cannot make sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You know, so and it is you're trying to add a logical side of something that you can't explain, and you kind of just have to let it go, run its course in that sense. So it's just what's the point of thinking about that, you know?
There is no pill for it. There's no calculation for it to make you figure it out. Because I remember my first relationship, I used that calculation, and I was like, okay, only 3 years of hurt. I got this. I can do this. And that actually took me a year to recover from. So see, that equation does not work, guys.
No.
I'm gonna really enjoy this question, but what is some of the worst advice that you've received when dealing with a breakup? So I will start. I know Lars and I talked about this a little bit. Is the best way to get over someone is to get under someone. I freaking hate that advice, because it's actually so damaging. It is so damaging to pursue another physical relationship, or for me, I'll say for me, it's so damaging when you have not fully healed yourself and you're not in the right mindset. What you're looking for from that physical relationship, what I was looking for, or what I wanted at that moment, is companionship and care, and to be held and loved, and I wanted to feel warmth. Are you getting that from someone that you're just hooking up with? Probably not. Right? So it's just going to make you feel more lonely afterwards, because you're like, oh, they don't actually care about me, and but this person used to hold me like this, and they used to look at me like this. I just wish someone could look at me like that. And then it's just so damaging. So those friends of yours that are telling you go and sleep around, whatever, if that's how you heal, completely fine, you do you. But most people who have gone down that path will tell you that it's damaging, that it is not healthy until you are healthy, and then you make the choice to have casual relationships. It's very different when you're broken and you're seeking casual relationships, and you're healthy and you're seeking casual relationships. Very different people. That's the worst advice. Also, the time heals all wounds. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that when I'm sad.
Nope.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it's going to get better. I don't want to hear I'm going to find someone more amazing. I don't want to hear that he wasn't good for you anyways. I don't want to hear that.
I mean,
Don't want to hear
personally, I
that.
kind of want to hear that.
Oh, do you? Oh, I don't want to
Just to
hear
feel
that.
better about myself, just a little bit. Just maybe one
But
time. One time.
there's other fish in the sea.
Oh, I don't want to hear.
Oh,
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Oh.
I also don't want to hear that. Yeah, those are the things. Or like, you know what? You gave too much. That's like, don't put the blame on me. You know, don't start. That's not your opportunity to start talking about. Or you know what I hate when people say, you know what? I didn't like him anyways.
oh.
You didn't say anything when I was with him for 3.5 years, did you? So like, don't come at me with that now. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that I do, like. That's bad advice for me as a person. If you truly know me as a person, I tell this to everybody that's close with me. When I am sad, when I'm crying, the best way to deal with me is to literally just be empathetic. I am like the easiest person to satisfy when I'm sad. All you gotta do is empathize with me, tell me that it's a shitty situation, tell me that it sucks what happened to me, tell me that it's a sad situation, tell me that you're sorry that it happened to me, and don't tell me it's gonna get better, don't tell me any of that, just be like, it sucks and I'm so sorry that happened to you. I really wish it didn't happen. Like, those are the key words that I want to hear, and that'll help me heal, that'll help me like feel better in that situation. Have you guys received any bad advice?
So that's
Or what is
exactly
something
the
that you
reason
don't
why-
want to hear, I guess?
Yeah, so
when you're
that's
healing?
exactly the reason why when you asked me if I have had any, or like when I have had any bad advice, and I was like, no, not really, because whenever someone is about to say something, I just be like, bro,
Stop.
Just be here for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just
right.
be here for me.
Right.
That's literally all you need to do. Like, you wanna give me advice? Stop it. We could just like play a game or something, and just we'll chat about something else. Be here for me and let me know that I have people that care for me, and that's it. That's literally
Simple.
all I need from you.
So simple.
You know,
Is it
I don't
also?
need I don't need all that stuff, dude.
I'm interested to know if you like pick up on the fact that people are about to give you advice because you were once that person who wanted to fix. Is that like a vibe you
Yes.
get from people? You're like, I know what you're doing. Stop it. Stop it.
No,
Okay.
that is a little bit of it, because like when I used to look at things as problems that you can fix, then I was such a terrible person. But now I think about it, and it's just like, these are problems, yes, but these are problems that you don't need to fix. These are not like necessarily quote unquote in definition a problem. That's not how it works. You know, and a lot of the situation, you gotta just kind of have to go along with it, and kind of like be the support system by just shutting the fuck up.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up.
It's actually that
So
simple. It's actually that simple. Tanepi, what about
Yeah.
you?
I guess, like, I don't know. Thankfully, most of the people I talk to are pretty just kind of supportive. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, if you're like that's bad, is like looking at Reddit, like the like relationships advice subreddit, when you're like sad and you're just like, I'm gonna look through other breakup things, and
Yeah.
like, I think that's where you see like a bunch of just really, because it's a bunch of like people who don't know what they're talking about, acting like they know what they're talking about, and the whole like, what, delete Facebook, go to the gym, lawyer up, like all of that.
Yeah, I don't
want
want to know that right now. Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
And it's like, well, yeah, go to the gym, but people, that's probably where I would have gotten my worst advice. Just from like, I don't think I ever posted anything about my relationships on there, but I'd scroll through like similar situations and just try to like look and see what people saw, and like, it's hard to remember specific ones, but it's just like a toxic place, and like the internet in general, like turning to just like random people, not like, you know, friends like you guys, but random forums and stuff, tend to just give really generic advice, or really poor advice, or ill-timed, and don't know at all what they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned social media, because I know a lot of people go to social media to get advice or help them through situations, and there's nothing wrong in that, but just be conscious of the fact that you are approaching a system that is not necessarily designed to help you heal. It's just literal garbage, dumped from everywhere, just being thrown in there. So just, keep that in mind when you are using that. Good night, Subby. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Have a great night. How about you, Lars?
Yeah. I've definitely received the whole oh, just just casual date, get your dick wet type of thing. Can I say that? I'm so
Oh
sorry.
yeah, you can totally say that.
Um,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
He retracted
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah. And what that tells me is that person clearly doesn't understand
Right.
uh what I'm looking for.
It doesn't know you.
Yeah, they clearly don't. I
Right.
mean, I'm the guy who, for his 8th grade English class, when we had to
Welcome,
do
fellow Raven.
uh an autobiography, but we had to do a project on an author. I chose Nicholas Sparks, the guy who wrote The Notebook and A Walk to
Ooh.
Remember. My favorite genre of music, or not music, movies, just happens to be romantic comedies. Uh, I
Mm.
I indulge in chick flicks. Let's just be real. And honestly, I don't like the term chick
I
flicks.
was just about to say they shouldn't be called chick flicks. They should be called rom coms, and that's that. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Romance movies.
There you go. Who doesn't
So
love
yeah,
love? Mm-mm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So and also to touch on the whole, like, there's other fish in the sea, that never makes me feel good.
Right?
No, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Because
no.
I know that I'm about to deep dive in the ocean, and
And get
ain't
crumbs.
nobody.
Okay? Get
Yeah.
get
There's,
polluted crumbs, okay?
man,
Or sharks.
Or
nobody wants to be in that
Oh
ocean.
God.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Lord.
I was telling my stream this earlier. Was it last? What day of the week is it? Is it Monday?
Monday,
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Monday.
It's
So I was
Monday.
telling my viewers this last week. There's literally nothing better than the feeling of when you get to delete all of the dating apps that you never found love on because you found
Aw,
love the organic way. Oh, there's
heart.
nothing better than that.
So happy for you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Am I
Very
allowed?
relieved.
Sorry. Am I allowed to say that I'm happy for you? I can't remember if
Oh,
you had addressed that
oh no, yeah, we're good.
you're
I'm happy
two,
for
not
myself,
one.
honestly.
Okay. 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 I was like, did I just oust you? Oh my lord. I'm so sorry. Oh god. Hi, Shiny Espion. So we were talking about healing, and we were also talking about providing support. So I do want to end off with those ones, but before we get into those two, I know there's some people who are struggling with dealing with shared friend circles. So yes, you cut each other out, but there's still friends that you both keep in touch with. I've never been in this situation, so what do you guys think is some advice that you can provide for navigating shared circles if you have experienced it?
Yes. So
Yes.
the most important thing is to never make it a me versus them, because that's unfair to the person that is the mutual friend.
Okay.
It's never, don't involve them in your, you know, war with your ex.
Like make them choose a
It's
side. If you
yeah,
hang out with
there's
me,
no
you can't hang out
sides.
with them. Type of
Yeah,
thing.
there's
Okay.
it doesn't even matter if they knew you first. That's not the point. You
Mm.
then at that point you don't respect friendship at its core.
Mm.
Yeah, it is unfair to the friend to say, oh, don't talk to them anymore, because that, for one, that's not your decision to make. It's not. um i I understand if something really bad happened, like they cheated on you, and so you want your friend to be like, oh, nah, that's wrong, I'm dropping him or whatever. But ultimately that is their decision, and as hurtful as it may be, I don't think it is ever your decision for
Mm.
someone to be friends with someone else.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Because I think it's I mean it's super obvious. There's always going to be three categories of friends. There's the mutual friends where you're both friends with each other. There's the friends that were her friends but now they're kind of your friends, or the friends that were your friends and that kind of her friends now.
Yeah.
And depending on how they want to side, it's up to them. They're their own people.
Yeah.
You know, if some people are like, oh well, you know, since you broke up with my best friend, I guess I can't be friends with you anymore. And if that's their choice, that's their choice. You can't be like, but I like you as a friend. No, that doesn't work that way. You don't have that choice. Like if you're spending so much time dealing with friends, you're not. There's one person here, yourself, that you have to deal with first, right? And the whole shared friend circle is that it will pan out the way it pans out. Just don't drag them into this he said she said war in the middle of it, or like just deal with like what ends up happening with and try to be like, well they're right, or no, well they're wrong and I'm right. That as long as you don't drag your friends into the mess, it will sort itself out. Whoever feels like they, you know, connect with you better or connect with them better, or maybe they just want to keep in touch with both of you, you know, there's gonna be all three. And that happens, you know.
Tanepi, have you been in a situation like that?
Yeah, I actually my first breakup, most of my friends I had met through the guy I was dating. And after we broke up, like my really good friends were just like, well, we're gonna be there for you, but we're gonna be there for him too. And like I had no ill feelings towards him, and I was just like, yeah, like of course. And then like as things progressed, basically like they're more my friends than his these days, but not because of the, you know, breakup, just sort of how. And then there were some people from the friend circle that stayed more in touch with him than me, and it just kind of, you know, drifted apart naturally as people graduated and started doing their own thing. But it was pretty easy for me, I guess, because I didn't. Plus, like you know, I got to hear some things about how he was doing that I probably shouldn't have been curious about, but you know, I of course you're going to be, and I think I totally agree with Lars and Mista of just like don't try to make people choose, because that I completely agree with you guys, because like I would never. When that all went down, like I saw myself as this like terrible person for breaking his heart anyway, so like I would never have been like, you can't hang out with him anymore, because I was just like, please go hang out with him because I just tore out his heart for no reason, you know, like and I think like as long as everyone knows that people aren't really like typically villains like in relationships, that sometimes things just don't work out, there's really no reason for big drama. And of course there were a couple of people who like were just like, oh wow, I hate Sam now, like what a you know, a whole bunch of terrible things, and some people that just didn't want to be around my ex. But like that's, I don't think, at least on my end, I wasn't out there just being like, no one hang out with them, you know, like I think he probably said a lot of things because as he was processing, which is totally understandable. But yeah, it actually like it was not that hard to navigate. I think like a few months after, like we were both going to like the same parties and stuff, and it was nothing like terrible. There were some awkward moments, but nothing terrible.
I think breakups are already so difficult that there's no reason for more people to get involved and then start taking sides and adding fuel to the flames. And like there's no point. Like I think your true friends, and hopefully there's your mutual friends are those true friends, will actually try to make the process as seamless and as healing as possible, and not ignite more negative feelings that you're already going through, already processing through. I think that what you can do if you are in the friend group is recognize how both people are dealing with it. So for example, in Tanepi's situation, if it was a mutual friend and they know that Tanepi is like farther along her healing journey than the guy is, maybe don't talk about how amazing Tanepi is doing in front of the guy. Like that's not very nice, right?
No.
Just be considerate about that, and maybe don't talk about her as much till he has healed and gone through his own situation. I feel like people make the friend circle thing this huge thing because the friends themselves make it a huge thing because they're like, whoa, we have to choose sides. If I invite them, then I can't invite them. Like, they make it into this very tense situation when it really doesn't have to be. I was in a situation, now that I think about it, where I was invited to a party where my previous partner was going to be invited to the first one, and the guy told both of us, like, listen, just letting you know, I invited both of you guys, now you decide what you want to do. And I think that was such a better way of going about it, because I could decide if I wanted to show up and possibly meet him, and he made the choice if he wanted to show up. He ended up not showing up because he knew I was going to come, and he had already moved on at the time, and he knew I was still healing, and he's like, I just don't want any kind of like sadness and stuff, so I'm just not gonna come. So he made that choice, and that was that. And that was completely cool. Lemon says, I do think that I need to protect myself in certain cases where I've been feeling unsafe from the way that exes would connect with my best friends because they couldn't let go. So in those cases, I do state it that I'd prefer keeping myself safe and tell my friends about it. Some prefer just not telling me about those instances, and I appreciate it very much. Mutual friends gotta help heal. Yes, rather than take sides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't make it a me versus them thing.
Yes. Yes.
Especially
But-
when you get back
but-
together.
Oh,
But I mean,
oh, spicy.
Spicy.
but I mean, it goes back to the point where honestly, your mutual friends really should do what they feel like.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like not everybody can have the capacity to be like, hey, I'm gonna help everybody reach a good, like, amicable situation or something like that, and that's totally fine as well, because it's not on them. The onus is not on them. Like, and so I've been that mutual friend quite a few times, and I've always been the person to kind of like keep like connections with both people and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I know their boundaries. I know how they feel about each other, and you know what? That's probably not gonna be what we talk about anyways. You know, it's just another person that I happen to know that you don't want to talk about. That's pretty much what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm never in a situation of where I'm inviting anybody to anything, because I don't like inviting people. But
Easier.
that makes it a lot easier.
We
But,
all know
yeah,
those
exactly.
people though that are just like,
So-
so like, because they're like gossipy and they like that
Yeah.
drama, so they will, poke where it hurts and try to get a reaction out of you just because they're miserable in their lives, and that's exciting to them, which is unfortunate. Hi, Night
Exactly.
Robber. RP says, I've been to several weddings, baptisms, where my ex was there with her boyfriend since mutual friends. Right, okay. And she came up to my family and mom and people and said hi and was nice. And my family is nice to her. You don't have to hold grudges, but also don't have to remain close. 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
Shit.
Thank you, Night Robber, for that host. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the host.
All right, guys. So we are closing off. Last question of the night. I always like to end off with some kind of tips, some kind of takeaway that we can apply to our lives. So what do you think are some good tips that you can give to people who might be going through a healing process or might one day need tips for healing? And on the other end, if you are someone dealing with someone going through a healing process, what is some advice or support that you can give to someone going through a healing process? I will start and say, don't tell them to get over it. Don't tell them it's been so long. Don't ask them why they're still sad about their relationship ending. Don't ask any of those questions. Don't ask if they found someone new. Are you talking to someone new? Don't ask any of those. I feel like if someone is in a healthy mindset and they have found someone else, they will tell you. There's no need for you to dig.
It's like asking how the job search is going.
Oh my
Right.
gosh, I hate that one.
Right. If I found one, I would tell you. Yeah, and don't give there's many fish in the sea. We've said it before. Just be there for us. Be kind to us. Be empathetic. And really take the time to reflect. Like, I know I've been there when you're hurting, all you want is to latch onto someone to heal you. That is all you want. You just need the pain to stop. You just need someone to just like scoop away the pain and just absorb it like a sponge and like rid yourself of these horrible feelings that you're feeling. But let me tell you, baby, if you don't take time to like reflect and, you know, hold yourself accountable for that relationship, really take time to address whatever went wrong in that relationship or how whatever that relationship meant to you, it's just not going to be healthy. Not going to be healthy. So I know for healing, take that time to address all of those things. And this actually goes for more than just relationships and breakups. If you are dealing with any hardship in your life, any demons, any difficult obstacles, like take that time to really reflect on it, write it down, do the highlighting, do the charts, do your pros and cons, do whatever you need to do. Like, don't just let it fester or suppress it. It's just not going to help. And for supporting, just be kind and empathetic. Do you guys have any tips or how to support a loved one going through a breakup, Tanepi?
I mean, for healing, I mean, we kind of went over this a little bit, but just like tell yourself like eventually you will be okay, but you do not have to be okay for like anytime soon. And just be nice to yourself. Let yourself be sad, but also like, you know, when it comes to a point, take care of yourself. Like try to eat, but not just like junk food. Try to move your body. Like keep yourself going. And that's something I really fail at when I'm really sad about anything, you know, breakups or whatever else. But just like, yeah, be nice to yourself, but take care of yourself and just like give yourself the time and the work that you need, and don't add shame onto all of the sadness. Like, it's gonna be hard enough without you beating yourself up for like, why am I not better yet? Why am I not dating yet? Why, like, you know, why can't I do anything? Just there's no need to add all of that onto what's already going to be such a hard process. So just like, you're gonna like, and I don't know, like I always had like really weird dreams, really weird like daydreams even, and it's just like, just accept that your brain's gonna go to weird places because you're healing, like, and that's just, it's weird things are gonna happen, and just kind of accept the process.
Yeah, I really like that you mentioned that it's going to take that time to heal. Let yourself feel those things, and the beating yourself up over not recovering in X amount of time or whatever the case may be is so normal. It's probably going to happen. You're going to have days where you're just so sick of being sad and you don't know why you can't stop being sad. But let yourself be sad. Let yourself cry. Let yourself take that time. Because the way I look at it is that, like, the situation is already shitty, right? It's already a shitty situation. You being shitty to yourself is not going to help. How is that helping? How is you attacking yourself making you feel better? It's not. So just stop. Just don't do it. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think just at the very end, and I'd like to get a little bit more like up close for this. It's okay. It happens, and the only thing that you need to keep in the back of your mind at all times when it comes to sadness is that it is not over. It is not the end.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happens in your bouts of sadness, it is completely okay to feel that. But then know that there is going to be a time that you need to move on, and that is like an eventuality, so that you know that there's there's light at the end of the tunnel in that sense, in the sense that it is not the end. And that's coming to the taking care of yourself, in this, and actually like moving around a little bit. You know, you feel terrible, but still, you know, you gotta eat. You know, you're crying and bawling, you still gotta sleep. You know, those type of
Yes.
things still are very important. You have to take care of your health because, like I said, it's not the end. And for people that are helping with healing, don't drag anything out. Just don't drag anything out. Like I said, it's and being crude is apparently my specialty here, but just shut the fuck up. Just shut the
I
fuck up.
love it.
That's it.
I love it.
You know.
It's
You
really
don't
that
need to do
simple.
anything.
It really is that simple, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like if I'm hurting, I'd rather have people sitting next to me and understand that instead of them sitting next to me and trying to say whatever they can to make me feel better.
Oh, or trying to make me laugh. Ooh, that boils my blood when I am sad and people try to make me laugh. Oh, y'all don't understand. I
So
hate that. Don't
And
do
then they get mad when you're just not in the mood to laugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you know what's happening with me, right?
Yeah.
You can see this.
What
do
is
you
wrong
like?
with
What do you
people?
think is going to happen?
understand. I don't get it. Yeah. Lars.
So you guys pretty much touched on everything that I wanted to emphasize. But yes, most definitely allow yourself
Ugh.
to heal. Allow yourself to be sad. And definitely find something constructive and healthy to occupy your the time, something that you know really enjoy, something that you're passionate about, but also take the time to reflect, look back, and learn learn from the breakup, learn from the relationship. Oh, what did you what and also recognize the growth as well. That's very important. Recognize the growth that you had in the relationship, and recognize the growth that you have post relationship. And you know, I this can go towards like any kind of failure. Um, Den- Denzel Washington in a speech said, "No matter what you do, if you fall forward. Always take
A
fail
lesson
as a lesson.
or.
That way, you never really fail. That's just a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you have the tools and more knowledge to apply to the next. And if you fail that, guess what? Then you have more tools and knowledge to apply to the next. And it just keeps going and going and going. Always focus on not only your mental health, but also your mental emotional growth.
I
I'd
really
like
like
to
that.
I'd like to point out one last thing that I don't know why it slipped my mind for so long. But no matter what you do, no matter what happens, just do not regret the time that you
Yes, I was gonna say that. Yes.
That's good. Yep.
Yes.
because
Yes.
it is that is regret is literally the most useless,
Yeah.
empty thing that you can do. Because it's not gonna bring anything back. It's
Yeah.
not gonna do anything for you right now. It's never gonna do anything for you in the future.
No.
Mhm.
What's happened, you know. And looking back at it, you should if you're taking it a lesson, whether you're taking it for a lesson, whether you're just feeling sad about it, those are good things. But don't think like, oh, I should have taken it back. I should have done this better. I should have done that better. Well, you can't. Well,
Yeah.
then what is that time you spent right there thinking about it like that?
Or looking at it
So,
like
yeah.
wasted time.
Exactly.
Right.
It's never wasted time.
Right.
It's never wasted time. You never regret on it.
Right.
But yeah.
So guys, as you can tell, we're really stressing on the healing to be done with you being kind to yourself. And I keep saying that, and I say that every time actually I stream, the choosing to be kind to yourself, because it was something that was said to me when I was contemplating self-harm, and it literally changed my life. It was simple words that my coworker had told me that, you know what, we're not kind enough to ourselves. And I was like, my mind is blown. She right. And since then, I think that kind of was like the pinnacle of my healing process, and that was kind of like the birth of it. And it's really simple, but we don't do it enough. So be kind to yourself. Take that time to heal. Take that time to grow and reflect. Let it feel shitty. Let it be not okay. All all of those feelings are okay. All of those feelings. And like, we've all been through it. And I know I'm not like always on my DMs, but you are more than welcome to message me. I don't know if you guys are okay with that, but
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good
yeah.
with that. I'm always
Anyone
good
can
with that.
DM me anytime.
okay.
Yeah.
You can message, and even if we won't get back to you right away, we will get back when we're able to. And if you just need a venting session, but I would highly, highly recommend that you take that time to recover and heal without like fully leaning on people in your life to heal you. Like, you do have to do the heavy lifting, but there is always support around you if you do need a little bit of a shoulder for a bit. Thank you guys. This was such a beautiful conversation, and we didn't cry. That's amazing. I messaged them and I'm like,
the glasses.
That's why I wore sunglasses.
I had messaged them and I was like, guys, I'm feeling some type of way. I might have a little breakdown. Like, it was getting there, but I took a breath and I was okay. But thank you guys. This was such a great conversation. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. All your wisdom that you shared with me, your experiences and your knowledge, and it is just wonderful. I could not have picked a better group for this, so thank you. Thank you for being okay with
Thank you for having
talking
us.
about this.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you guys. Guys, I'm going to be heading off to say bye to my scrumptious guests offline, but I will be back. So if you are heading off, have a great night. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll be doing my rap and my exercise reps afterwards, Raven's Real Talk style, giving a shout out to Bruno, Lars, Tanepi, and Mr. Music in my rap. But if you are heading off, I hope you have a good night. And if not, I will see you in a little bit. Do you guys want to say bye to everybody?
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Alrighty, guys. Hello. I am back. Thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your evening with me. I know life is quite busy, and you could choose to spend time with anybody or be lurking on anybody, and the fact that you choose me and chose to spend time with us, I really appreciate that. So thank you guys. Thank you for the warm welcome back. I'm really glad that you guys are here. Shiny Espion, I'm very glad that you could join in and provide your experience as well and your wisdom. I appreciate it. Thank you guys all for being here. Really, anytime I talk about my breakup, I feel like it has less and less power over me, and it helps me heal little by little. So this conversation is very important to me, and I actually wasn't sure if anyone would be willing to talk about it because it's such a sad topic. It's such a morbid topic, and usually when people are done with breakups, that is the last thing that they want to revisit. But I cannot stress to you guys how grateful I am to be part of a community and to have friends that are actually excited to be on Raven's Real Talk. Like, you guys have no idea how blessed and grateful I feel when people are actually happy to share their experiences and their wisdom and their struggles and things that they've accomplished, and they choose to do it on Raven's Real Talk. It really, really means a lot. So thank you to Mr. Music. Thank you to Bruno, Lars. Thank you for Tanepi for sharing all of your beautiful, beautiful wisdom with me, your experiences, your mind. And I've learned so much, and I have so much food for thought for tonight. We've talked about some great things. So without further ado, let's go into the rap. I have not prepared for this rap. As those of you who have been on my channel before know, I do a rap on my channel. The last bit of the rap is completely freestyle. I don't have any notes. I don't have anything. So it usually is super cringe. But you know what? I would not have it any other way. Hi, Snow. I'm so glad we finally got to play Snow that one night. That was super fun. And I'm so sorry that you're going to witness this, but it's nice to have you here, and I hope you all enjoy. All right, here we go. Rap time, guys. Oh, y'all thought I was done. Nah, baby, I'm just getting started. All right. Here we go. Oh, snap, it's my Ravens. This time with you, I've been craving. Been looking forward to this all day. Let's have a scrumptious time today. Skibby-doo bop, 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 bop. Moo, moo, bop, bop, bop. Skit, scat, diddly-doo, and spooky, boogie, boogie, boo. All right, okay. It's Ravens Real Talk Mix. You coming at me, I got some tricks. First, we gonna introduce my friends. We gonna be friends till the end. First, we got Bruno, Lars, aka Larsy. He's so hot, he got them hot ass barsy. Then we got Neppy 2. She likes to eat bread, me too. We the best on that carbs. We love getting thick and dropping them bars. Then we got them scrumptious Mr. Music with them bars. He also was my boyfriend in our duet partner thing. We sang about breakups and how it comes full circle. He's on Raven's Real Talk Breakups. Okay, that's it. That's it. I lost it. I did. I lost it. But you know what? I will own it, and I will work it, and I will live it, love it, work it.